Together, we are going to come together, and we are going to solve the problems we face.
Hillary Clinton speaking in front of a raucous crowd in Pennsylvania. By the way, as she has been speaking, Bernie Sanders was declared the winner of the Rhode Island Democrat primary. So Bernie Sanders has gotten a win tonight. That should be food for his thought a little bit later on this evening. Now we return to Hillary in Philadelphia on 660 AM.
For anyone to control, and they just worry that those of us in politics put our own interests ahead of the national interest. The faith that we can make things better, that we can give our kids a better future than we had, is at the heart of who we are as a nation. And it's one of many reasons that being American has always been such a blessing. And our campaign is about restoring people's confidence in our ability to solve problems together by delivering results that help people follow their own dreams. That's why we're setting bold, progressive goals backed up by real plans that will improve lives. After all, that is how progress gets made. We have to be both dreamers and doers. And as a great Democratic president once said, there's nothing wrong with America that can't be cured by what's right with America. So here's what I believe. I believe we can create more good jobs with rising incomes, jobs that provide dignity, pride, and a middle-class life. We can renew our democracy by overturning Citizens United. We can lift up people and places who've been left out, from our inner cities to Appalachia. In every manufacturing town hollowed out when the factory closed, every community scarred by substance abuse and addiction, every home where a child goes to bed hungry. That's what we Democrats believe in. That's what we know is possible. So we will build on a strong progressive tradition from Franklin Roosevelt to Barack Obama. And I applaud Senator Sanders and his millions of supporters for challenging us to get unaccountable money out of our politics and giving greater emphasis to closing the gap of inequality. And I know together we will get that done. Because whether you support Senator Sanders or you support me, there's much more that unites us than divides us. We all agree that wages are too low and inequality is too high, that Wall Street can never again be allowed to threaten Main Street, and we should expand Social Security, not cut or privatize it. We Democrats agree that college should be affordable to all, and student debt shouldn't hold anyone back. We Democrats agree that every single American should and must have quality, affordable health care. We agree that our next president must keep our country safe, keep our troops out of another costly ground war in the Middle East. And we Democrats agree that climate change is an urgent threat. And it requires an aggressive response that can make America the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. And we Democrats agree on defending all of our rights, civil rights and voting rights, workers' rights and women's rights, LGBT rights, and rights for people with disabilities. So in this election, we will have to stand together and work hard to prevail against candidates on the other side who would threaten all those rights and pit Americans against each other. They would make it harder to vote, not easier. They would deny women the right to make our own reproductive health care decisions. They would round up millions of hardworking immigrants and deport them. They would demonize and discriminate against hardworking, terror-hating Muslim Americans who we need in the fight against radicalization. And both of the top candidates in the Republican Party deny climate change even exists. Now, the other day, Mr. Trump accused me of playing the, quote, woman card. Well, if fighting for women's health care and paid family leave and equal pay is playing the woman card, then deal me in. So, my friends, if you are a Democrat, an independent, or a thoughtful Republican, their approach is not going to build an America where we increase opportunity or decrease inequality. So instead of letting them take us backwards, we want America to be in the future business. That's why I want you to keep imagining a tomorrow where instead of building walls, we're breaking down barriers. We are making it more likely that Americans will be part of a prosperous, inclusive, decent society. We're imagining a tomorrow where every parent can find a good job and every grandparent can enjoy a secure retirement. We're imagining a tomorrow where no child grows up in the shadow of discrimination or under the specter of deportation, and where every child has a good teacher and a good school, no matter what zip code that child lives in.
You are listening to Hillary Clinton's victory speech for the North Eastern Primaries on 660 AM The Answer. You're listening to the Wells Report. Donald Trump expected soon. We'll be back with more of Hillary's speech as she continues now on 660 AM The Answer.
Imagine a tomorrow where hard work is honored, families are supported, streets are safe, and communities are strong, and where love trumps hate. That is the future I want. I want that future for my granddaughter and for all of our children and grandchildren. Now think of this. Our nation was born right here in Philadelphia. Our Declaration of Independence and Constitution were signed just a few blocks away. And ever since, even through dark and difficult chapters of our history, the idea of America has shone through. At our best, we are, as Robert Kennedy said, a great country, an unselfish country, and a compassionate country. But America's greatness is not a birthright. It must be earned by every generation. So please join us. Join us. Go to HillaryClinton.com. Text JOIN 47246. Volunteer, contribute, compete. Let's go forward. Let's win the nomination. And in July, let's return as a unified party. Thank you all so much.
You're listening to Hillary Clinton live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as she speaks to her supporters, and Donald Trump expected very, very soon with his victory speech. Hillary Clinton, as we come to this particular discussion, Hillary Clinton has won 4 out of the 5 primaries tonight. She defeated Bernie Sanders in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, also in Connecticut, but she did not emerge victorious in either Connecticut, or so far has not emerged victorious yet in either Connecticut or Rhode Island. In fact, we just took a look at Connecticut, and Bernie Sanders has a narrow lead over Hillary Clinton in that state as we come to the air here on 660 AM The Answer. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, like we said, we'll be waiting Donald Trump. He, of course, has a lot to talk about. He has won all of the primaries tonight, with Ted Cruz looking to try to put things together for Indiana next week and continue his campaign. John Kasich also finished second in a couple of places over Ted Cruz. And that is going to be something that weighs heavily on the mind of the Cruz campaign officials as they go into tonight to parse out just exactly what happened in tonight's voting. This was clearly going to be a Trump tour de force. These particular states certainly do lay out for Trump and what he's trying to get done in this campaign. Also with John Kasich. This is good common ground for John Kasich, the governor of Ohio. So he would do well in these states as well. Now, as Ted Cruz brought up earlier tonight, the terrain begins to look more friendly toward Ted Cruz. Whether it will be enough is unknown. Whether we are going to be able to see this idea that Ted Cruz and John Kasich came up with, that being, okay, so if you don't do anything in Oregon or in New Mexico, I won't do anything in Indiana, and we'll see whether or not we'll be able to keep Donald Trump from getting all of the delegates necessary. It looks as though Donald Trump may just barely have enough room in these primaries yet to come to be able to pull off getting enough delegates to actually win the nomination. Otherwise, it could be very, very close. And as polling information indicates, most of Americans want, if it's close, they want the person who's close to be able to get the nomination. That is the way things are shaking out here. And of course, that makes good sense. The only thing about it is one of the harsh lessons we learned in the primary season this year is that indeed Americans are used to having their votes be a part of the final solution to any electoral question. In other words, Americans are used to their votes being the final authority. Well, in the primary season, that's not the case. And that's not going to sit well with most Americans I know. And this was the first election where we were very, very surely informed that, yeah, it's okay if you vote, but don't think for a moment that those votes mean as much as they do in other circumstances. This was a very, very bad primary season for all of the primary, for all of the political parties, certainly the Republicans. More coverage coming up of the Delaware and the Connecticut, the North Eastern primaries in a moment. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Abacus Foundation Repair. You and I both know that the warmer, wetter seasons in Texas can give us real foundation problems. Wet spells, dry spells. Let me put you in touch with Abacus Foundation Repair if you even think you've got any kind of foundation problem. This is what I did. I called them. You'll be glad you did too. At 972-406-9000. Call the right people first. Abacus Foundation Repair, 972-406-9000. Why are they the right people to call if you got cracks in the walls or sheetrock or doors that are sticking or any kind of suspicion? Because they're going to map your house with the skill of an engineer. Look for possible causes like a plumbing issue so the problem doesn't come back. When they're done, you get a lifetime warranty. You can transfer free and clear to any new owner. It adds to your home's value. North Texas homeowners trust Abacus Foundation Repair, so give them a call. 972-406-9000. Abacus, A-B-A-C-U-S, AbacusFoundationRepair.com. You'll be glad you called, so call 972-406-9000 or AbacusFoundationRepair.com.
Welcome back, Summer. It's a hot one. This is Nolan Ryan. Go with the pros who know how to beat Texas heat. American Standard Air. Born and bred in Lone Star State. That's American Standard. Comfort the way you like it.
That's right, Nolan. And your trusted independent American Standard dealer is Mathis Air and Heat. Why is that? Mathis Air has been serving you and your neighbors for over 20 years. They offer 24-hour emergency service and 100% financing for 60 months and 0% interest on a new system with approved credit. So make the call today for your free in-home estimate or $49 tune-up at 972-279-4COOL. That's 972-279-4COOL. Or go to mathisair.com. That's mathisair.com. Get 0% APR for 60 months with a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call 1-888-534-6894 for details about credit costs and terms. For new accounts, the APR for purchase is 28.99%, subject to credit approval.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-700-1843. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-700-1843. That's 1-800-700-1843. 1-800-700-1843.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And the Grammy goes to.
And the American Music Award goes to.
And the Grammy goes to.
And the Grammy goes to.
Mr. Stephen Curtis Chapman.
With a career spanning over 3 decades, Stephen Curtis Chapman has pretty much done it all, except for one thing.
Third Day.
Be a member of Third Day? One night where 2 of our industry's top performers literally merge into each other's bands to play each other's songs that you've loved for years. Our sister station's doing it again. The 94.9 KLTY Concert Series welcomes Stephen Curtis Chapman with Third Day at the Verizon Theater on April 30th.
We're forming sort of one new band called SCC 3D, I think is what we're calling it.
You'll probably never see anything like this again. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com. That's AXS.com. One night you'll never forget. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com. Are you ready for the vacation of a lifetime? Then get on board for the Storyteller Cruise with 660 AM, The Answer. Join us October 23rd through the 30th with Matthew West. Along with pastor and Bible teacher Greg Laurie.
The highest calling of God is what God has called you to be. There is no higher thing. We're all called to do something.
Selah. Mr. Talkbox, and more. You and your family will travel aboard Holland America's New Amsterdam as we travel to Grand Turks, San Juan, St. Martin, and more. Best of all, enjoy music and inspiration from Matthew West and Pastor Greg Laurie. Space is very limited. Get details now at 660 AM. TheAnswer.com. We'll see you on the Storyteller Cruise from 660 AM. The Answer.
660 AM. The Answer. You're hearing tomorrow's front page on the Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. We're taking a look at some of the weather things that we're expecting tonight. A very well-defined thunderstorm line is about to move toward Fort Worth. It's crossing past Weatherford as we speak, and it looks like it's a pretty good, well-defined line of thunderstorms. I do not see hail embedded in the thunderstorm cells. Normally, you can see that pretty well with NOAA weather radar. Taking a look at that, but I'd say that we're about 20 minutes, half an hour outside of Fort Worth, Texas, with this very strong line of thunderstorms. I'm backing off just a little bit. This looks like it's the only thunderstorm line that we've got that's going to be an issue for some of the hours moving into tonight. But like I said, in the next 10 to 15, 20 minutes or so, things are going to get kind of lumpy in Fort Worth, Texas. Again, Weatherford has just dealt with this storm. So heavy weather in the forecast tonight, and we're keeping our eyes on it as we speak. So once again, Donald Trump, clean sweep tonight in 5 primaries. Rhode Island, 64% of the vote, 64.5% of the vote. Bernie Sanders won that. Sanders also leading in Connecticut. Donald Trump a big winner in Connecticut, 59.6%. So he's doing well. Delaware, Trump 61.1%. Clinton also won that one, 59.8%, as you might expect. So Delaware in the win columns for both Trump and Clinton. Maryland, Trump 54.1%, a bit closer, with John Kasich with 23.1% of the vote. Cruz finishing up third with 19% of the vote. Pennsylvania, Trump wins 58.8%. Ted Cruz finishes second. Excuse me. Ted Cruz finishes second there. And Rhode Island, once again, Donald Trump wins 64.5% of the vote. And once again, Bernie Sanders wins in Rhode Island and leads in Connecticut. So Hillary Clinton has a chance to win 3, but certainly not a clean sweep, as is the case when it comes to Donald Trump. A lot of the things that people are worried about are some of the things being talked about in exit polling. Let's talk a little bit about what those things are. Voters in the contest tonight expressed worries about the economy, a broad sense among Republicans that their party has betrayed them. Do you agree? Have you been betrayed by the Republican Party? Tell me how you've been betrayed. I happen to believe we have. I believe that the Republican Party, while we weren't looking, decided to walk away from conservative values and become just a political opportunist, a political expedient party that does whatever's necessary from their standpoint to look good on the front page of the New York Times. That's essentially what I believe the Republican Party now stands for. And yes, that is a betrayal. This country desperately needs a party that will lead through constitutional examples. And that is something we must do. We simply must have a party that does that. And failing the Republican Party in picking up that gauntlet, we have to create a party that picks up that gauntlet. This is where we find ourselves in this new millennium, and why the Republican Party has seen fit to take this time of all times to abandon conservative values is a complete mystery to me. Total mystery. The exit polls represent surveys of voters left as they left polling sites and reflect trends. They're not precisely indicative of every vote tally in every contest, but Republicans are feeling angry and betrayed. Time now for a special report from SRN News regarding tonight's polling information, tonight's primaries in the Northeast. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
This is a special report from SRN News, the North Eastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines. Donald Trump has padded his delegate lead over rivals Ted Cruz and John Kasich. Trump winning big in all 5 of today's primaries, and that keeps alive the narrow path to locking up the race before the convention. Campaigning in Indiana, Ted Cruz is looking ahead.
This campaign moves back to more favorable terrain. Tonight, this campaign moves back to Indiana.
Hillary Clinton has won the Maryland, Delaware, and Pennsylvania primaries and leads in Connecticut. Bernie Sanders has won in Rhode Island, and he says he'd still be the stronger candidate come November.
What we are seeing on national polls, which have us 15, 20 points ahead of Donald Trump, far more than Secretary Clinton.
This has been a special report from SRN News, the Northeastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines.
Isn't thinking so much more fun than getting yelled at? The Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. We are awaiting Donald Trump and his speech from his Trump headquarters in New York City. As Donald Trump prepares to address the assembled throng, a lot of majorities of Republican voters said they feel betrayed by the party. In Ohio, the number was 57%. In North Carolina, it was 56%. But that feeling did not just show up. It doesn't necessarily translate into overwhelming numbers looking or overwhelming numbers of Republicans looking for outsider candidates. With 54% in North Carolina and 50% in Ohio saying they were looking for an outsider. Among Republicans, very few voters are satisfied with the state of the nation. More say they're dissatisfied than outright angry. In Florida, the number of dissatisfied to angry was 47 to 39%. In Ohio, it was 53 to 39%. In North Carolina, 54 to 40%. Donald Trump won the support of Republicans looking for an outsider, winning 65% of that group in North Carolina, 69% in Illinois. And Trump won support from voters who were angry with the government, including 53% in Illinois, 52% in Ohio. And in Florida, Trump won 55% of the voters who said they felt betrayed by their party. What do we do with that? What do we Republicans do with the fact that our party, most of us, a majority of us believe our party has betrayed us? What do we do with that? We're not the only ones that believe our party has let us down. Worries about the economy are widespread among both Democrats and Republicans. Republicans, however, express deeper concerns with the state of the economy, with about 7 in 10% in Illinois and North Carolina saying they're very worried about the nation's economic future. And I can see why. Among Democrats, 81% said they were somewhat or very worried about the economy. In Missouri and 75% in Ohio. A slight majority of Democrats in Ohio, 53%, said that that trade cost the U.S. jobs rather than creating them. Among Republicans in Florida, 55% say they would like to see undocumented immigrants granted a path to citizenship. I don't know where that's coming from, but 35% said that they should be deported. That should be a window on some of this polling information. You can tell that there are certain regional biases in these questions. So that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at Republicans, Democrats being dissatisfied with things happening in Washington, D.C., and they should. They should be. This is not what our country is supposed to be dealing with. And we're going to see whether or not, indeed, we're able to return this country to what it needs, which is a lot more reliance on the Constitution of the United States instead of party politics and this strange penchant for deal making that doesn't make deals for anybody except for politicians. It was a new day in the wild 2016 presidential race. Ted Cruz was ready to seize the moment. It is significant that John Kasich is pulling out of Indiana and allowing us to go directly head-to-head with Donald Trump, said Cruz in a radio interview yesterday morning as he kicked off a full day of campaigning in the Hoosier State. I think it's very, very important because the object always has been to nominate the strongest Republican to defeat Hillary Clinton in November. Hundreds of miles away, surrounded by reporters at a Philadelphia diner, Kasich had a different take. It's not a big deal, said the Ohio governor, which makes no sense. That's a statement of a guy who says it's not that big a deal because he doesn't know what else to say. That was the awkward first day of the Cruz-Kasich alliance. Was unveiled last Sunday night in a last-ditch effort to deny frontrunner Donald Trump the Republican nomination. Hoping to deny Trump the 1,237 delegates necessary to secure the title before the convention, Kasich had conceded Indiana to Cruz. Cruz stepped aside for Kasich in New Mexico and in Oregon. The agreement was cheered by anti-Trump forces, denounced by the billionaire. But now the new reality settled in yesterday. Kasich and Cruz found themselves grappling with a deal that seemingly created more questions than answers. Could this alliance of theirs backfire? That would only fuel Trump's criticism of a rigged political system. How much would outside groups, including super PACs supporting Cruz and Kasich, respect the agreement? How should Cruz and Kasich supporters vote in states where their preferred candidate is now no longer competing? I know what I would do. I know what I would do if if some of those states were to call me on the telephone and say, who should I vote for? I'd say Trump. Even though I'm a Ted Cruz guy. Why would I say that? I'll tell you why. Because I disagree with these kinds of deals. I think these kinds of deals are counterproductive. The objective of rational politics that makes sense, at least in my view, the objective is accountability and clarity. Coming up with some sort of deal to try to keep Donald from getting the nomination outright has a stink to it. It's not necessary. It's not good. It's a bad thing. It's something that does indeed need to be forgotten about as quickly as possible. I would have never agreed to anything like that. I'm surprised that Ted Cruz did. I mean, I suppose he didn't have anything. I suppose he didn't have anything to lose. Why not? But I'm just reasonably sure that I would not have done any of that. I'm reasonably sure that what I would have done is I would have just said, let's just run it right to the very end. We'll take the fortunes of this election as they come. And that's exactly what I would have done. 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. You're listening to the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer. We are awaiting Donald Trump. He should be stepping out to his lectern in the Trump headquarters in New York City at any moment. Had a very, very good night tonight. He was able to engineer a clean sweep in the primaries tonight. Those being in Rhode Island, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland. What ended up happening is that Trump took them all. Kasich took a bunch of second places. Cruz took a bunch of second places. And so what we end up with now is we end up waiting another week to see just exactly what's going to happen next. It is still possible for Donald Trump to win all the delegates necessary to become the official nominee of the Republican Party. Still possible to do all that. That's assuming there's not any deal making on the eve of the convention either. I don't know. When it comes down to deal making, I would not want to vote against one Mr. Donald Trump. 866-660-5759. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to wait to see if Donald Trump steps up to the lectern. And when he does, we will break in, bringing you his victory speech from the North Eastern Primaries. Super Tuesday 2. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer. Finally, a conservative phone company created to fight for conservative candidates and causes. Hi, I'm John David Wells from the Wells Report. I want you to know that Big Mobile supports liberal candidates. It has been tried and true and proven over and over and over again. It's a fact. The money you pay every month gets reallocated to lefty politician causes by big cell phone mobile companies. If you don't like it, then I want you to listen to this offer from Patriot Mobile. You already know that just like your current mobile provider, Patriot Mobile offers the same nationwide talk, text, 4G LTE data, and services popular with all of the other big companies' phone plans. But did you know that Patriot Mobile donates 5% of the money that you pay them strictly to conservative causes? Right now, if you call 1-800-A-PATRIOT, you'll get unlimited talks, text, and data plan with your choice of phones. The free iPhone, $60 a month. Free iPhone 5C, Samsung Galaxy S4, $45 a month. And the offer's only good while supplies last. Do not let liberal progressives and their phone companies defeat our conservative leaders. Who am I talking about? Let's see, Alan West come to mind. He's out of a job because of liberal cell phone companies. Contact Patriot Mobile right now. 1-800-A-PATRIOT. 1-800-272-8746. Go to patriotmobile.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Wells Report.
Truth spoken here. More of which is next. The Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer. Hugh Hewitt breaks down who is voting for Trump.
He does not win well with the college-educated, even high school degrees, actually, and people who are doing okay in the new global economy. He does well with the Rust Belt, with older, white, middle class, often disappointed with economic circumstances voters, and with a group of people who are fundamentally opposed to Washington, D.C.
The Hugh Hewitt Show, weekday mornings at 5, right before Mark Davis at 7 on 660 AM. The Answer.
Howdy folks, Crazy Gun Dealer here, and if I got another crazy gun deal for you. DPMS AR-15 5.56 rifles. They're only $4.99 while they last with ammo purchase. But get here quick because I have a very limited supply. And as always, they come with free CHO classes, a free lifetime warranty, free range membership, and free test firing with most handgun purchases. And if all that's not already enough, if we don't already have the best gun price you found anywhere, we'll beat any price gun to gun, or we'll give you the gun for free, because nobody wants your gun business more than the Crazy Gun Dealer. Come see us at 5301 East Highway 67 in Alvarado, or check us out online at crazygundealer.com, or follow us and get a freebie by texting CRAZY to 24587, or you can just give us a call at 855-329-4867. That's 855-329-GUNS. And don't forget, we pay more for your gun whether you want to sell, trade, or just get a loan.
All offers and promotions subject to change or restrictions. See store for complete details.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Manzeri, owner of Statewide Remodeling. You know, since our inception in 1994, we've evolved into the largest bathroom remodeling company in Texas, with offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. You know, what we found is that most bathroom remodeling companies are still using old technology in the bathroom remodeling business. I'm not saying they necessarily do bad work. They just are not keeping up with all the new trends and product availability, as well as what's new that goes into the wet area of the bathroom to prevent leaks and low maintenance products that reduce mold and mildew. If you're going to spend your money to remodel a bathroom, you owe it to yourself to at least get an estimate from Statewide Remodeling. We do not charge for a design consultation. We'll come to your home and show you all the options, help with your design, and give you a down-to-the-penny price that's good for 30 days. After that, it's up to you. You can also come by one of our DFW area showrooms or visit us online anytime at statewideremodeling.com. If you call now, we're offering 20% off your complete bath remodel. The number to call is 888-270-7095. That's 888-270-7095.
Hey everybody, Mark Davis, my friends at Viascan of Las Colinas. Here comes spring. Are you about to get more active? Maybe already because it's been so warm. Well, me too. And listen, there are questions inside your body as to what's going on.
Wake up!
Are you at risk for a heart attack? Do you have plaques or blockages that maybe you don't even know about? Do you have any kind of cancer spots in any vital organ that you don't know about now? You might find out later when they're larger and inoperable masses. This is not smart. What is smart? Going to Viascan of Las Colinas, affordable preventive healthcare. John Duncan and the crew have some incredible specials for you. The body scan that takes a look at your heart and a cancer risk, usually $895, just $595. Give them a call today and add the carotid artery neck scan to evaluate stroke risk for just $99 more. This is incredible. It's like $1,380 worth of scanning, all safe, all comfortable for $695. Absolutely great. 972-739-2840. 972-739-2840, or just Google Viascan. Viascan of Las Colinas.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. Now, The Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. We are still waiting for Donald Trump to step to the lectern in Trump headquarters, New York City. He's got to feel pretty good. he's got to feel pretty good. What he's got doing now, what he's got is he's got his opponents working together to try to figure out some way of slowing him down, and it doesn't look like he got slowed down one iota tonight. He won 5 primaries with zero ambiguity, knocking on the door of, or just plain crossing the threshold of, 60 percentage points of the winning vote. So as we come to this quick little break here, there are people that are beginning to applaud in the Trump headquarters. I don't know whether that means that he has arrived or whatever. We're going to do news at the top of the hour, and what we'll do is we'll bring you right back if Donald Trump begins to start talking, as he has had a big night tonight. Is it enough for him to become the eventual nominee? In other words, are now people going to say that this is enough? Donald Trump has proven that he is the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party. What does that mean to us? What does that mean to us? What does it mean to those of us who supported Ted Cruz? I still believe that he is the best hope the Republican Party has. Now, does that mean that I don't think Donald Trump can win? Not at all. I think Donald Trump has a great chance. In fact, I think he has a much better chance than people are giving him. That being said, let's talk about it as we continue. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM The Answer.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make sure to tune in to Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer.
This is a breaking news update live on 660 AM The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. I am John David Wells, and yes, indeed, Donald Trump is now addressing his supporters as he moves forward here. And they're having trouble with the sound there, and I don't know exactly what's going on here. Let me bring this up to you. As you can hear in the background, they haven't quite found Donald Trump's sound.
That means they're not getting audio back.
Yeah, they're having some trouble here. Here we go. They found it now.
Is it all
Here's
five?
Donald Trump.
It's all 5, whether it's 60 or just about 60, and even I see one up there at 66 and 67. And you have to remember, and I say this all the time to the pundits, I love the pundits, but I say it all the time, there are 3 people. When you crack 60, and as we did last week with our great city and our great state of New York, when you crack 60 with 3 people, that's very hard to do. In fact, I think Chris can tell you, if you crack 60 with 2 people, that's called a massive landslide. But we have 3. And, some strange things have happened. Last night, it was very strange when I watched this group get together. That was a strange moment. I got a call at 11 o'clock, and we talked, and I said, I think that's a good thing because it shows weakness, it shows ineffectiveness, it shows failing campaign, but really it's collusion. In business, they put you in jail for collusion. In politics, you're allowed to get away with it. But it really is, I thought it was a very weak signal, and the Republican Party needs something much different than that. We'll be going to, thank you, we'll be going to Indiana. I'll be leaving tomorrow afternoon for just a long stay, and it's a great state. I have many, many friends there, and I have a coach, Bobby Knight, the great Bobby Knight, and we're going to be spending a lot of time with Bobby, and Bobby's an amazing guy. He's tough, he's sharp, he's smart, and he wins. He knows how to win, and the people of Indiana love him, and Bobby's endorsed me, and we're going to spend tomorrow night, and I think the next day with Bobby, so it's going to be a lot of excitement and fun. And that's called the gold standard for Indiana. I would say Bobby Knight has to be the gold standard. And we have so many other people that have endorsed us there, so that'll be great. So we'll start in the afternoon, and we're going to be spending numerous days in Indiana, and it's going to be something really, really special. So I want to thank the media. The media has really covered me very fair for the last 2 hours. No, they've been really very fair over the last few weeks, and it's been amazing what's been happening. The crowds we've had are record-setting crowds, bigger than Bernie, but Bernie second, I have to say. In fact, I suggested today, you probably saw that the Democrats have treated Bernie very badly, and frankly, I think he should run as an independent. Okay, and I actually do. I think they've treated him very badly, and the system is a bad system, and whether it's their system or our system, you look at what goes on. But the best way to beat the system is have evenings like this, where you get record-setting votes, where you get record-setting delegates. I use the analogy of the boxer. When the boxer knocks out the other boxer, you don't have to wait around for a decision. So that's what it is, and that's what happened tonight. That's what happened last week in New York. And that's really what's been happening throughout. We have millions more votes, millions more than Cruz. We have millions more votes than Kasich. I mean, Kasich now, I guess he was 1 in 41. So now he's 1 in 46. Why is he here? I can tell you that if you look, Dr. Ben Carson did much better. He could have hung around and done very well. If you look, Chris Christie did much better. If you look, Marco Rubio did much better. In fact, Marco Rubio right now has more delegates than, Kasich. I mean, he's got more delegates, but so many others. I mean, they've actually done, all they had to do is hang around, but they thought it was inappropriate, and a lot of people don't like seeing it. It's like a spoiled person that just says, I'm just staying for whatever reason. So Kasich, and by the way, as soon as Kasich gets hit with the first negative ad, he's had none. Bing, that's the end of that. It's the only thing he can say. And today we came up even against Hillary, but we will beat Hillary so easily. And, remember this. Remember this. I was not going to run according to everybody, and I ran. I was not going to sign Form A, which basically you sign your life away, and I signed Form A. And then everybody started saying, wow. And then we put in financials. The financials were phenomenal, far better, a little bit like this evening, far better than even people thought. Great financials. I built a great company with the help of my sons and my daughters, and with the help of my family, frankly. I mean, it's been great. But we built a great, great company, and that was good. And then everybody said again, well, he's just going to have a good time for a couple of weeks. He's enjoying it. And very shortly, we went to #1 over a 3 or 4 week period. And we've been there ever since. We've been #1 ever since. And again, millions of more votes, hundreds of more delegates. And I think this one is maybe the biggest of them all. I mean, New York last week at almost 62% was incredible, far better than what people thought. They said if you could break 50, again, with 3 people, it's very hard to break 50. We hit almost 62%, picked up so many delegates. Last week we had 95 delegates in New York State, New York City, the whole thing added up to 95. We picked up almost every single one of them. It was an amazing victory. But this one's a diverse victory. I mean, you go Rhode Island, and you go Maryland, and you go Connecticut, and you go Pennsylvania, and you go, the whole thing, Delaware, and every one of them was conclusive, and every state is so different. I mean, it's so different. I think one of the greats was when you look at almost 50% in Massachusetts and almost 50% in the state of Alabama. Now, that's pretty different, but we have all across the board. And I think we're going to do really well in Washington State. I think we're going to do amazingly well in Oregon and every place we're going to. I mean, we're going to be fighting hard. New Mexico, we're going to be fighting really hard. And I think that Governor Kasich and Senator Cruz have really, really hurt themselves with a faulty deal that was defaulted on before they even started. Because Kasich said, well, what do you mean? Aren't they going to vote for me in Indiana? Well, I said, I thought they just made that deal. So what it is politicians all talk, no action. They can't get it done, and they certainly can't straighten out our country because we're going to bring back jobs. We're going to take care of our military. We're going to be doing so many things. And to me, especially over the last 2 weeks, because I traveled New York State, and I went to Syracuse and Poughkeepsie and Rome, this Rome, our Rome, New York, as opposed to there's another Rome out there someplace. But we went to Rome, New York, and we went to the island, Bethpage, and just every place we went. manufacturing down 40 and 45% and even more. And then we go to Pennsylvania and we see the same thing. You look at what's happening with steel and you look at what's happening in so many other industries. And I get statisticians to give me numbers. And before I leave all the time, give me the numbers. And every single place I go is a disaster. Manufacturing down 40, 45, 55, 60% sometimes in a relatively short period of time. Our jobs are being sucked away from our country. And we're not going to let it happen anymore, folks. We're going to make it very, very difficult to do that. And when companies want to leave this country, our great country, and they want to lay off all of these people that in many cases helped build the country, there will be consequences for that company to pay. When they think they're going to make their product and send it in, no taxes through a very weak border, which, by the way, our border will be very, very strong, and we will build the wall. Just remember I said it, okay? But when they think they're going to send their product right through this weak border and they're going to pay no tax and have absolutely no consequence for what they did, it's not going to happen that way. And you know what's going to happen? When we do that, all of a sudden companies are going to say, I'm staying in Syracuse, and I'm staying in Pennsylvania, and I'm staying in Maryland. And I want to thank the people of Maryland. They've been so incredible. We had some rallies, all of them. But we had some rallies in Maryland and Pennsylvania that were absolutely unbelievable. Yesterday in Pennsylvania, we were in an arena that was like Madison Square Garden. They turned away thousands and thousands of people. Unfortunately, the press never reports that. They always show my face. They go like this. I said, does anybody ever want to show this arena that's got tens of thousands of people in it? But they don't do that. But that's okay, because I'll at least explain it to you. But we're going to have our country back. We're going to make America great again. And I just want to tell you, for the 5 states, I am so honored. This was, to me, our biggest night because it shows such diversity.
You're listening to Donald Trump, his victory speech after a 5-state win in tonight's Northeastern primary. This is 660 AM, The Answer.
Yeah, it's all been, well, I don't know what the final number is, but the money we raised for veterans has been mostly distributed, and we're looking for some other really worthy places to distribute the final amounts. But for the most part, it has been distributed and raised millions of dollars. Yes, go ahead.
Donald Trump is apparently doing a Q&A that the sound guys were not ready for. We're trying to get his microphone back as he takes questions from apparently the press corps.
And Governor Kasich should really get out of this. They have no bad to They have no bad to honestly, they should get out of the race, and we should heal the Republican Party, bring the Republican Party together. And I'm a unifier. I unify people. That's how I did it in business. I mean, I unify people. We will have people that are backing this party and backing my candidate. And the folks will not even believe it. We're going to have such unity. Now, I'm not saying everybody, because some people have gone too far over the edge, but we will have people backing the party and backing the presidency, and we're going to win, and we're going to beat Hillary Clinton, and it's not even going to be hard. Thank you.
Yeah. You have a mic that's feeding into it.
There's a lively debate among the audio people as to just exactly what the feed is as Donald Trump is waiting for a question. I believe this is campaign.
Well, let me give you an example. And it's a very good question. And of course, we look at different things, and I don't want to do that. And we're leading by so much. And I think we're going to hit the numbers pretty easily. Most people agree with that. Probably before we end the process, but if it is, there's a lot of room every time the convention and that will be a lot of delegates available. And we're all going to be attorneys.
See, this is one of the very. Would you guys listen in there? And when they finally get this audio situation worked out, can you please, by all means, let me know so we can get back to this? This is where Donald Trump is at his best, when he is simply just fielding questions. Let's see if we've got the sound right.
17 delegates.
There you go.
Right. And then you have 54 or so delegates that are, up for grabs. The one thing different with Pennsylvania, and I've been hearing about it, I've heard about it for years actually, is that the winner of Pennsylvania, there's a moral obligation, at least on the first
Yeah, I listened
round,
to the SRN feed,
to
and it was the
support
same
the
feed
person that won. Now, we didn't only win, we won big. And again, we have to get in mind, you have the three people. And when you have three people to get 60%, that's almost unheard of. Honestly, if you had two people and you got 60%, that's a really big victory. So here you have a case where we have a great leader, great Republican leader, and you have a moral obligation in Pennsylvania that those people will, and all I care about is the first round. You know, when you people write about Cruz is going around giving people dinner, buying people everything, riding them around all over the place, getting them into hotel rooms because he's looking for the second and the third and the fourth. I'm not really too interested in that because we're going to win on the first. I'm not looking to go second, third, fourth, but maybe I'm making a mistake. I mean, the truth is, even if this did ever go there, can you imagine if Donald Trump, because in California, we're up to almost 50%. I think we hit 50 today. And they're at 18 and 16. I mean, there's a massive difference. So we're going to have a big California. I think we're going to do great in Indiana. Indiana is the home of Carrier Air Conditioning, which is leaving for Mexico, that I've been talking about for the last 4 months, long before I knew Indiana would be so important. And I'm saying that won't happen if I'm president. Carrier will not be leaving Indiana if I'm president. But I've been talking about this for a long period of time. So when you think of it, and the really unfair thing that the pundits never report, when I began the process, we had 17 people, very capable people like Chris, governors, senators, Dr. Ben Carson, very smart, tough, highly accomplished people. 17, a record in the history of politics, 17 people. So I go and I start winning, and I'll win New Hampshire, and I'll get whatever it may be, 32%. And people would say, why did he get 50%? I said, you can't get 50% when you have 16 people. Then I go to South Carolina. We have a massive victory. That was Cruz's stronghold, except I won it in a landslide. And I won it because of the evangelicals who backed me. The evangelicals have been unbelievable, and they backed me. So I won there. And we had 12 or 13 or 14 people. We had many, many people, and I got a lot. And then we went to Nevada, we went to the South, Alabama, with all of the people we had, we almost got 50%. Massachusetts, with all of the people we had, we almost got 50%. The pundits, I was watching tonight, the pundits never talk about the fact that these early states, especially, even now we have 3. 3 is unfair. You know, Hillary has 1. I have 3. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between fighting 1 person and fighting 2 people in terms of percentages. So what I'm saying is when you talk about the 1237 number, the first 70% of these things we had from 16 people and even 17 people to 10 to 8 to 6 to 5 to 4, and now we're at 3. So it's really unfair when you try and, I've always been very good at math. Nobody ever discusses that. When I watch the people on television, whether it's CNN, Fox, or any of them, and I watch, they never talk about the fact that we have all these people, and that if you got a 32 or a 35 or a 38, and you have 7 people running, that's like 75. So we are really honored by this night, and I'm really honored to have hit over 60 in virtually every race with 3 people in the race. Okay. Go ahead, Tom. I didn't want to bore you with that long thing, but I'm telling you, it's never discussed on television. Go ahead.
Donald Trump taking questions and answers after a very good speech, a victory speech in the North Eastern Primary. Taking questions now from the press.
In fact, I heard he had a news conference tonight, and I heard the news conference was for the purpose that he's getting out of the race. That's what I thought. And instead, he just had a news conference, more talk, But no, I don't want to even think about it right now. I'm not doing that. We're going to set up a committee at some point in the not too distant future, but I just don't want to think about it right now. I want to finish it off.
Governor Christie be on your list of names?
Well, I think he's fantastic. I think Chris Christie is fantastic. So certainly, he would be somebody. No, I am me. It's interesting, Sarah. I hear that, he'll be presidential, he'll be not presidential, he'll do this. It's very easy to be presidential. By the way, much easier, but I'm not playing a part. Look, I started off with 17. I'm down now. I'm winning it. It's over. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. These two guys cannot win. There's no path. So why would I change? You know, if you have a football team and you're winning, and then you get to the Super Bowl, you don't change your quarterback, right? So I'm not changing. I think we're going to do great in the general. Well, I may act differently, but my thought process is the same. You know, when I speak to a group of 10 people in a conference room, I'm not going to be speaking the same way I spoke in Pennsylvania yesterday to 25,000 people. It's a very different thing, but I'll be saying very similar things. Yes, go ahead.
Well, as you to kind of follow up on that point to some extent, as you shift your focus, say, to this foreign policy.
I'm doing a foreign policy speech, yes.
More formal setting.
Yeah, which I look forward to.
More serious topic. Are you concerned to some extent that you lose your more enthusiastic long-term supporters?
Well, it's an interesting question. I've had many, many people write in, tweet in, modern way of writing, but write in, tweet in, call in. Please don't change. Please don't change. Just stay the way you are. So, look, I'm not changing. You know, I went to the best schools. I'm like a very smart person. I'm going to represent our country with dignity and very well. But I don't want to really change my personality. I think, you know, it got me here. Somebody said, if you changed and if you were that way, you wouldn't be maybe where you are right now. You know, we beat a lot of people. A lot of people are sitting back saying, what happened, darling? Why are we sitting here? We're watching television. Don't forget, when I announced, there were many favorites that were going to win. One of those people raised over $100 million in a PAC and a lot of money personally. Others had other big advantages, governors of major states, et cetera, et cetera. They were all going to do great. They were all going to do great. But one after another, and here we stand with big 5 victories over 60%. David?
Tonight in her speech, Hillary Clinton took a chunk out of you and basically said she's going to have a theme about love, Trump, and hate. How do you fight back against someone who calls you a hateful person?
Sure. I mean, I call her Crooked Hillary. She's crooked. She'll be a horrible president. She knows nothing about job creation. Her husband signed NAFTA, which destroyed this country economically, I will tell you. You look at New York State, you look all over New England, you look at Pennsylvania, NAFTA was a disaster. Her husband signed it, and it was a disaster for this country. Hillary will be horrible, absolutely horrible on economic development. She will be terrible on jobs. She knows nothing about jobs except for jobs for herself. And when it came to answering the phone, at 3 o'clock in the morning, she was sleeping, okay? She wasn't, with Benghazi and all of the other problems. You look at what she did with Syria. You look at what she's done in so many different ways. She will not be a good president. She doesn't have the strength. She doesn't have the stamina. I know about dealing with China. I've made billions of dollars dealing with China. China can be dealt with, and you can get along with them. But Hillary does not have the strength or the stamina to deal with China or other things. But bottom line is, one of the big problems our country has is problems with trade, where you have China, Japan, Mexico, so many countries just ripping us left and right. The politicians cannot handle that problem. 2 reasons. Number one, they don't have the competence to do it. Number two, most of them are paid off through campaign contributions so that they don't touch certain things that the people want touched. When people are making less money in real wages than they were 18 years ago, and then some people say, wow, he had a big crowd. That's one of the big reasons. I mean, you have people making less money today, as you know, because you see every stat. Less money today, David, than they made 18 years ago. And in some cases, they're working 2 jobs. So they're getting older and they're working harder. Shouldn't be that way.
You're not worried at all, though, about being labeled?
No, I don't worry about it. No, I don't worry. I'm not a hateful person. I'm a person that loves people. And make America great again. I mean, that's just the theme. I mean, she's going with that because she thinks it's great. I'll do far more for women than Hillary Clinton will ever do, including, remember this, including protecting our country, because she will not be good with the military. She will not be good with protecting our country. And she's had her shot. And she also raised her hand when it came to Iraq, and she shouldn't have voted. And if you remember, just take a look at the things that Bernie Sanders was saying about Hillary Clinton. She said she's not qualified. He said she is not qualified to be president. But he said something else that was because qualified. What's qualified? I mean, you got to go out, you got to run, and you see what happens. But he said some things about her that were so incredible, and so incredibly bad. There's a great level of hatred right there, but he's been telling the truth. And I really mean it. I think Bernie Sanders should run as an independent. I think he'd do great. Okay.
Donald Trump addressing the crowd and an impromptu news conference at the end of a victory speech in the New England primaries. You are listening to 660 AM. The Answer. This is the Wells Report.
The party is seeing me that way. I'm getting calls that, as I said, you wouldn't believe. I'm getting calls from people that I really can't even know how they can do it because they've said such horrible things about me, and now they want to join the team. Chris can tell you that. Ben Carson can tell you that. Other people can tell you that. I'm getting calls. Corey can tell you. Paul can tell you. We're getting calls from people where I actually say, how could you do this? How can you do this? How can you do it? And they have no problem. But the fact is, names that you wouldn't believe, names that you interview and say, oh, Trump, Trump, Trump. And now they're calling they want to join the team. Oh, well, a lot of them will be coming out soon. They want to come out very soon. Yes.
Thank you very much. That's your foreign policy speech tomorrow. First of all, I just want to find out what you're hoping to accomplish with the speech. And also, can you give us all a little bit of a preview about the conversation?
Sure. I mean, tomorrow's going to be, I think, interesting. It's going to be some of my views on foreign policy and defense and lots of other things. So we'll be discussing, and part of it is the economics. I mean, I was asked a question recently by Wolf Blitzer on CNN, and he talked about NATO. I gave a great answer. I gave an answer that at first people didn't like, and then they said, you know what, Trump is right. Experts said. I said it's obsolete, and too many people are getting a free ride because we're funding 72, 73% of NATO. You have 28 countries, and many of these countries are just taking advantage of the United States. And you have to pay up because we don't have a country with 19 trillion in debt that can afford this anymore. You have to pay up. And part of what I'm saying is we love our countries and we love our allies, but our allies can no longer be taking advantage of this country. This isn't 40 years ago and it's not 20 years ago. This is now. And we have to rebuild our infrastructure. We have to rebuild our country. We have to get rid of ISIS, and we have to get rid of them fast. Our military is totally depleted. We have to build it up. It's going to be the cheapest thing we can do. And a lot of great things are going to happen. We're going to make America great again. No, you're going to really hear different things. Yeah, very. I'll never change one thing. You know what I will never change? Make America great again. I will never change. That's one thing. No, it's not going to be the Trump doctrine. And you know what I say? It won't be the Trump doctrine because in life you have to be flexible. You have to have flexibility. You have to change. You know, you may say one thing and then the following year you want to change it because circumstances are different. And I've followed people for years, and I have friends that are the most successful people in the world. Many of them are endorsing me. Carl Icahn, many of the great business people are endorsing me. You have to have flexibility. You can't say, this is my doctrine, I will not move, because the world changes, countries change, leaders change, lots of things happen, so you can't say that. Okay, yes, sir, go ahead.
Trump, when you talked about in the last few races on, we're talking about the ceiling that you had, you definitely loved that.
We don't have a ceiling. You know what our ceiling is? I think it's 100%. We don't have a ceiling. And again, the ceiling was always so unfair because I'm going to just do it again because I want to do it because it's so important. But the ceiling, wait a minute. The ceiling, they kept saying he doesn't hit the 50%. Well, now they don't say that anymore. But how do you hit 50% when you have 16 people in a race? You can't do it.
Just here in the Northeast, New York, Pennsylvania, these are places.
No, you don't understand. I have many people running.
How are you going to win these states?
I think I'm going to win New York. No other Republican can say it. I think I'm going to win. Excuse me. Conservative voters. Did you see the polls where they're coming out tonight? The most conservative people in the Republican Party tonight back Donald Trump. The most conservative. Okay? Come on. Got to see the polls. Go ahead. The debt is the single biggest question I'm getting, student debt. And we're going to work on that. We're going to make it much different. The biggest problem the students have, they have the problem with debt, but they go to a good college, they borrow right up to here, and they're choking on debt. and they graduate, they work hard, they get good marks, and then they can't get a job. I'm going to bring jobs back to this country like you've never seen. That's the biggest problem.
This may be where Donald Trump does his absolute dead-level best as a politician. This is how he does it, right here. These free-form, these wide-ranging conversations that he does. This is an impromptu conversation right after a victory speech. Donald Trump now talking to the press here on 660 AM The Answer.
Unless she gets herself indicted with respect to what's happening with the emails, okay? You know, what I don't understand, you look at what's happened to so many other people, and they're, you know, they went through hell. Their lives have been destroyed for doing less than what Hillary Clinton did. What she did is an outrage. It's an absolute criminal outrage. And for her to be able to run as a Democrat, that's why maybe Bernie Sanders isn't finished. But the only way you can say that is if something happens to her. She's being protected by the Democrats because what she did, and I see it, and whether I read about it in the papers or I watch it with experts, legal experts on television, virtually every single one of them said what she did is a criminal act and what she did is a very, very dangerous thing for our country. And yet here she is running for president. So I think that Hillary, honestly, she's a flawed candidate. And I think she's going to be easy to beat. I think she's going to be much easier to beat than most of the 16 people that I competed with just recently. Go ahead.
That was a great answer by Donald Trump on 660 AM The Answer. You're listening to the Wells Report.
Let us know, country though, if you become president, what's the number one security threat to this country and how you deal?
To me, always the number one security threat to the United States is nuclear. That's our biggest threat. It's our biggest risk, the power of weaponry. And we have to be unbelievably careful. The single biggest, it is not global warming. President Obama said the biggest threat to our country is global warming. That's called, give me a break, okay? The biggest threat to our country is nuclear. And we cannot let Iran get a nuclear weapon. We're going to do something where we'll have a real partnership with China. You know, we have a lot of power over China. China has rebuilt itself by making a fortune over us. China has power, tremendous power, over North Korea. We have to be very vigilant on North Korea. We cannot let this guy go much further. And China should handle that problem. China can handle that problem very easily. They say they can't, but they're toying with us, okay? They're toying with us. We have a lot of power. We're going to have a great relationship with China. We're going to have a great relationship with Putin and Russia. But let me tell you, China has a lot of power over North Korea, a tremendous amount of power. They just refuse to use it, and they refuse to talk about it, and they're toying with us. And right now, they don't respect us. They don't respect our president. And because of that, they're getting away with murder. And this guy is getting away with murder. What's going to happen is, and something very important to me and to a lot of other people, but very, very important to me, is nuclear weaponry. That is your single biggest threat in the world today. Go ahead, Tom.
Are you worried at all that you could possibly be running for president in November and also standing trial for Trump University?
No, that's a civil case, very simple. I'm going to win that case very easily. Yeah, go ahead.
There's politics behind
Go ahead, Sarah, go ahead. Well, my unfavorables have come down a lot over the last few weeks. Well, remember this. Okay, I saw it on all of the cable stations and a lot of the networks, and I read it in a lot of papers. I've had 55,000 negative ads against me. When I ran in Florida, I had 14,000 negative ads, millions and millions of dollars, and I won in a landslide. I've had negative ads all throughout, and I've won races in a landslide, okay? In a landslide, you know it, you report it, you all report it. I'm not, even Carl would agree to that, right? I mean, landslides. And yet I have this tremendous amount of, you almost say, do ads mean anything? I think we're gonna hurt the industry pretty much because people are gonna say, what does an ad mean? But I've had, now, largely the ads were false, a little truth to some of them perhaps, but largely false. But I had 55,000, 100 million and even more negative ads. Even in New Hampshire, I mean, Jeb spent millions and millions of dollars on negative ads, and I won New Hampshire in a landslide. No, But now what's happening is most of these people that have been fighting me are gone. And when I'm one-on-one with Hillary, she will be, as I said, easier to take down, much easier to beat than the people, many of the people that I've already beaten. Okay.
Donald Trump addressing the press and answering questions in a wide-ranging, free-ranging press conference.
They're hurting the party because, again, they have no path, zero path to victory. And we're going to win on the first ballot. We don't look for the delegates on number 2, 3, 4, 5 ballot. And here's what I say. Let's assume it did go beyond the first ballot. And let's assume you're Reince, who's a very good man, head of RNC, Reince Priebus. And let's say, oh, well, Trump was 12 short, or 15 delegates short, or 25 short, but 500 more than Cruz, and far more than that ahead of Kasich. So you go to a second ballot. Now, Trump by that time will be 5 million votes because of California and the size of California, and I think Indiana and other places. Trump by that time will be 5 million votes ahead of Cruz. Will be much more than 5 million votes ahead of Kasich. I mean, Kasich should be he got to get. I call him one. Now I change it. Now I change it to 1 in 46. I mean, how do you stay in a race? And I would have won Ohio had I not been given a dirty poll saying that Florida was tougher than I thought. I stayed in Florida for 2 more days instead of going to Ohio. If I spent 2 more days in Ohio, I would have won it. Okay. How do you pick a man on the second or third or fourth ballot who has millions of votes, 5, 6 million votes less than Trump, and I'm the one that brought all these people into the party. That's why the Republican Party is up almost 70% from 4 years ago. And you know what's going to happen?
This is 660 AM The Answer. You're listening to American History. This is Donald Trump talking to the press.
They're not going to vote. So how do you do this? How do you say, okay, Trump won by 5 million votes. Trump is 5, 6, whatever, 100 delegates more than Cruz and much more than that having to do with Kasich. And he brought millions of people into the party, and everybody is talking about the party worldwide, how hot the Republican Party. You know, some people used to say it stayed. Well, the Democrats are 35% down from 4 years ago. The Republicans are almost 70% up from 4 years ago. So, I mean, that's an amazing tribute. And that's not because of, believe me, that's not because of Kasich or Cruz. That's because of me. So here's the thing. How do you say to them, we're going to choose a man that lost by 5 million votes and 500 delegates. We're going to take him because Trump was 14 delegates short of winning in the first ballot. I don't think you can do that. Now, with that being said, I intend to get enough delegates, but that's it. Okay. Yes, ma'am. One more question. Go ahead. I'll stick with my feelings on immigration. If you look at what's going on in immigration and just look at the record numbers of people right now that are pouring across the borders of this country, they're pouring, excuse me, I just read it. And I read it in actually a legitimate journal. All right. We need protection in our country. You look at the kind of crime, you look at what's going on economically. We need borders. And by the way, I want people to come into our country, but I want them to come in legally. They have to come in through a process. All right, we'll do one more. Excuse me? Well, I think the only card she has is the woman's card. She's got nothing else going. And frankly, if Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote. The only thing she's got going is the woman's card. And the beautiful thing is women don't like her, okay? And look how well I did with women tonight. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that's Donald Trump doing what he does best, which is a free-ranging, wide-ranging conversation with the press. Question after question after question. This is a guy who just won 5 state primaries. He just won 5, all of them available tonight. Donald Trump won them all. He goes out, he does a rather perfunctory, I didn't think it was much of a victory speech. It was more, you know, him just sort of meandering through the issues barely. And then at the end of it and says, you know, I'm going to take some questions. Threw everybody by surprise. Obviously the sound issue and so on and so on. was a real distraction there. But then Donald Trump does what no other politician can do. And what that is he sits there and says, okay, look, this is what I think. This is what I believe. This is how we're going to get things done up to a point. He talked about the fact that tomorrow he's going to be giving several policy speeches, or he's going to be giving a speech on several policy questions. He mentioned the economy. He mentioned that he would be discussing foreign relations, trade, and so on and so forth. So Donald Trump is definitely going to be putting some flesh on the bones of this campaign, and he's going to start tomorrow. But no other candidate that I have ever seen is more at ease with the press and more at ease discussing the things that you just heard him discuss. Political things, trade things, foreign policy, economy, one thing after another. And here's how he can do it. The reason that Donald Trump is able to do all of these things, and he doesn't have to have that absolute steel control over the White House press corps like they do with President Obama. The reason he can do that without having to have any kind of teleprompter with the next answer already loaded up is because Donald Trump is telling the truth as he sees it. Now, that may not necessarily be what ends up happening in the United States. But I will tell you this. No other president, no other presidential candidate, no other public figure that I've seen is able to do that better than Donald Trump. I think that's just amazing. I'm sitting here spellbound, listening to him just go through these things very carefully, one thing after another. It's the best part of what he does. 866-660-5759, 866-660-5759. In case you just joined us, this is coverage of the North Eastern Primary, Super Tuesdays, North Eastern Primary, with Pennsylvania up for grabs, Delaware, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Sleepy. No, I'm sorry. That's one of the seven dwarfs. Yeah, I got them all on there. Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maryland, that's 3. Pennsylvania, Delaware. Okay, that's 5. Hillary won, I believe she won 4 out of the 5, although it was very, very close in some of those. She won Delaware. She won she won Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. And okay, so Sanders did indeed win 2 others. Okay, so Sanders won in Delaware and Rhode Island. Okay. I'm sorry, Connecticut and Rhode Island. He did not win in Delaware. That's right. Clinton won in Delaware. So there you go. So that's the situation that we have. That's where we are with the primaries. As we said just a moment ago, we're going to have a special report with SRN News as we get through this wall-to-wall coverage. The second Super Tuesday in the 2016 presidential election. Truly an amazing evening as Donald Trump holds court in his campaign headquarters in New York after winning 5 primaries. He says he's now the presumptive nominee. No, he does not have enough delegates. But I'm not sure that anybody, for any reason, can think that maybe Donald Trump isn't completely correct. I suppose there's an outside chance that if Ted Cruz is able to defeat Donald Trump in Indiana, that he can make a case for moving forward. I don't know what John Kasich, even Donald Trump said it. Why is John Kasich still in the race? I don't know. Troy's going to join us next. You are listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM. The Answer. Back with more in just a moment.
This is a special report from SRN News, the Northeastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines. Donald Trump is calling himself the presumptive nominee. That after winning all 5 Republican primaries today, he's padding his delegate lead over Ted Cruz and John Kasich. Trump padded the lead in the race for delegates, winning at least 82 of the 118 delegates up for grabs. In Pennsylvania, he collected 17 delegates for winning a state, and additional 54 delegates were elected directly by the voters. Trump says he expects to win on the first ballot at this summer's convention. He likened the victories to a boxing ring knockout and suggested it was time for Republican rivals to drop out. Ted Cruz looking toward upcoming primaries and continuing to go after the frontrunner.
Donald Trump loves to style himself an outsider. And listen, when it comes to human decency, when it comes to politeness, when it comes to respect, he's right.
This has been a special report from SRN News, the Northeastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines.
The Wells Report, must-hear radio on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Troy in Dallas, Texas. Thanks for joining us, Troy. Thanks for waiting so long.
Hey, JD. When I hear what I heard tonight, that's the Donald Trump that I want in the Oval Office. And I've never seen anything like it. The more people say he can't do it, the more he wins. And all these people, these never Trumpers, they need to get their nose out of the air and act like adults and get behind him so we can win. You know.
Well, what I noticed, Troy, at the beginning of this, when Donald Trump started to run, I got this feeling that the Republican Party had just been left behind by the new American politic. And I was looking at this and I'm going, because they made so many mistakes about Donald Trump right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't take him seriously. They decided that the American people would reject him out of hand, and they were wrong, and then they continued to be wrong. And the more they said that Donald Trump was this, the more that they said Donald Trump was that, the more wrong they were. Most of what Donald Trump's early success was in this campaign was the fact that the Republican Party kept getting him wrong. And I think that with every bad move they made, with every errant statement that the Republican Party made about Donald Trump, they were campaigning for Donald Trump. Inadvertently, they were doing that, because what they were doing was they were saying, yes, Donald Trump's an outsider. Yes, he doesn't agree with anything that we do. Yes, he has something else completely entirely different than what I have ever told you, we, the Republican Party, have ever told you. And people just ate that up like it was warm golden honey on a cold day.
Yes. So can I ask you something, JD?
Sure.
Do you think he can get the 1237 before the coup?
Yes.
Before the convention?
Yeah, I think he probably will, actually.
Oh, yes. I wanted you to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think he probably will. Like I said, I think Ted Cruz is the right guy. I think that Ted Cruz is a better candidate. I think that Ted Cruz is the man that we, the people of the United States, really need in the Oval Office. However, I'm not going to be one of those people that sit there and say that millions upon millions upon millions of my fellow Americans are wrong. When Barack Obama won in 2008 and 2012, I didn't sit here and say the American people got it wrong. I sat here in this very chair and said, I got it wrong. Because the people of the United States know who the president is supposed to be, and that's all. And the Republican Party forgot it. That is the quintessential rule of American politics. Thomas Jefferson said it best. The only people that know what freedom and liberty in the United States is, or what those concepts are, the only people that know who the president should and ought to be, are the people of the United States. Not the politicians, not the pundits, not the talk show hosts. The people of the United States with their votes. The more I see Donald Trump doing what he did tonight, standing in front of the entire world and answering question after question after question, none of the statements that he made were outrageous, were crazy. Some I disagree with. I don't believe that the United States of America ought to be able to recombine and rebuild NATO. Do I believe that other NATO countries should pay more? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I believe that the people of the United States have been more or less the guarantors of European freedom and liberty. And there have been a lot of things those countries have been able to get away with by virtue of the fact that we, the people of the United States, have guaranteed their freedoms and liberty. I believe that, yes, France, England, all of the NATO countries need to step up to the plate and pay more. It's about time. However, getting rid of NATO, absolutely disastrous. Because that's the basis for all of these coalitions that we put together. Now make no mistake. When we were trying to put together coalitions to be able to go and do the hard work of fighting and keeping things like, ISIS at bay, and all those countries did not see fit to join the coalition, I noted that. Do I believe that NATO nations occasionally take the United States for granted? Absolutely. Is it time for them to stop? Absolutely. But there are things that I believe that Donald Trump can do better than anybody else. I don't believe there's anybody out there that could do a better job with trade around the world. And once again, he brings up NAFTA. We, the people of the United States, have been floating the economies of both Mexico and Canada for the last 20 years, since NAFTA. And once again, Donald Trump is correct. I'm not asking, not at all, I am not asking that Mexico go out on its own and start making its own decisions and we cancel all aid or whatever help to Mexico that we should do. I'm asking them to pick up more of the cost. And here's why. The government of Mexico is able to get away with being the government of Mexico because of Americans floating the economy of their entire country. Think about what we do for the country of Mexico. We support their lower class because they're here doing our basic work. They don't have to worry about the lower class in their country. They do not have a working class in Mexico because they're all living here. These people who are living here send money back to Mexico to float their families and give them some of the finer things in life. The oligarchies of Mexico are an embarrassment. Mexico is the ultimate nightmare of the good old boys club. And it's time for them to start doing the hard work of actually running a government. Actually governing, as opposed to just using the government and the people of Mexico as a way to make themselves richer every year. Canada has taken a free ride on the United States, our own defense in the North American continent for half a century. They need to do more. But once again, they're able to do all the things that they like to do, like, for example, elect socialist prime ministers, et cetera, just like they do in Europe. See, if Europe and Canada and all these countries actually had to make a living, they wouldn't be able to afford these stupid socialist governments. I saw it for myself. I went to France. There's not a city in France that doesn't have a major public works project going right now, rebuilding a cathedral or putting new gold leaf on the Palace of Versailles or any of these other things. And how are they able to afford it? Because we, the people of the United States, pay for their freedom and liberty. If all of these soft socialist governments in Europe actually had to govern, they would be free market economies like the United States before you could say sacre bleu. This is the Wells Report. Finally, a conservative phone company created to fight for conservative candidates and causes. Hi, I'm John David Wells from the Wells Report. I want you to know that Big Mobile supports liberal candidates. It has been tried and true and proven over and over and over again. It's a fact. The money you pay every month gets reallocated to lefty politician causes by big cell phone mobile companies. If you don't like it, then I want you to listen to this offer from Patriot Mobile. You already know that just like your current mobile provider, Patriot Mobile offers the same nationwide talk, text, 4G LTE data, and services popular with all of the other big companies' phone plans. But did you know that Patriot Mobile donates 5% of the money that you pay them strictly to conservative causes? Right now, if you call 1-800-A-PATRIOT, you'll get unlimited talks, text, and data plan with your choice of phones. The free iPhone, $60 a month. Free iPhone 5C, Samsung Galaxy S4, $45 a month. And the offer's only good while supplies last. Do not let liberal progressives and their phone companies defeat our conservative leaders. Who am I talking about? Let's see, Alan West come to mind. He's out of a job because of liberal cell phone companies. Contact Patriot Mobile right now. 1-800-A-PATRIOT. 1-800-272-8746. Go to patriotmobile.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Wells Report.
More of the Wells Report is coming up next on 660 AM. The Answer.
Welcome back, Summer. It's a hot one. This is Nolan Ryan. Go with the pros who know how to beat Texas heat. American Standard Air. Born and bred in the Lone Star State. That's American Standard. Comfort the way you like it.
That's right, Nolan. And your trusted independent American Standard dealer is Mathis Air and Heat. Why is that? Mathis Air has been serving you and your neighbors for over 20 years. They offer 24-hour emergency service and 100% financing for 60 months and 0% interest on a new system with approved credit. So make the call today for your free in-home estimate or $49 tune-up at 972-279-4COOL. That's 972-279-4COOL. Or go to mathisair.com. That's mathisair.com. Get 0% APR for 60 months with a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call 1-888-534-6894 for details about credit costs and terms. For new accounts, the APR for purchase is 28.99%, subject to credit approval.
This is Eric Metaxas. You know I consider a college education important, but for many, leaving home to go off to college is not feasible, which is why I'm excited to tell you about Liberty University's online programs. Right now, more than 95,000 students around the world are enjoying the same quality education as Liberty's residential students in Lynchburg, Virginia. Liberty is consistently ranked among the top 10 online universities and offers hundreds of degrees. Liberty's online classes are taught in flexible, virtual classrooms by engaging and challenging professors. I know some of them. I've had them on my show. For them, teaching is more than a job, it's a calling. If you're looking for an affordable, quality college education without leaving home, check out Liberty's online programs. Just dial pound 250 on your cell and say the keywords Liberty University. Secure your education from the world's largest Christian university without leaving home. Dial pound 250 right now and say the keywords Liberty University.
Are you a business owner who is jealous of some of the great commercials you hear right here on 660 AM The Answer? Do you feel a little left out when a clever commercial plays and you wish it was about you instead? Nothing's worse than hearing a catchy commercial from a competitor who is raking in new customers each day while you still aren't advertising on the radio. It's not too late. I can still help you. My name is Brad Ballard, and I work here at 660 AM The Answer. Call me today at 214-561-9116, and I can turn you into the company everyone wants to work with. That's 214-561-9116. It's much more affordable than you might think. Don't let another competitor pass you by. Call me today at 214-561-9116, and we'll get you on the radio right away. I'll meet with you personally to brainstorm the best message possible that will rise above the rest. It's time to grow your business and sound like one of the big boys. So don't wait. Call me at 214-561-9116.
Are you a responsible person who finds yourself growing deeper in credit card debt? Then get ready for a toll-free number that will put you on a path to financial recovery. Trinity Debt Management will consolidate your accounts and work with your creditors. You'll save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360. 1-800-758-5360. 1-800-758-5360.
Learn a little something at the start of your day. The Mark Davis Show. Mornings 7 to 10 on 660 AM. The Answer. The Wells Report is on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. A federal judge has upheld the North Carolina voter ID law. Lawsuits challenging changes to North Carolina's election law failed to show that it hampered the ability of minority voters to exercise their political power, according to a federal judge ruling yesterday in dismissing the cases. U.S. District Judge Thomas Schrader ruled against the U.S. Justice Department, the North Carolina NAACP chapter, and named voters. They sued, alleging the law was passed to discriminate against poor and minority voters in violation of the Constitution and the U.S. Voting Rights Act. While North Carolina had a sordid history of freezing black voters out of the political process, the plaintiffs did not show the law hampered the ability of minority voters to exercise electoral politics, said Schrader. The plaintiffs failed to show such disparities will have materially adverse effects on the ability of minority voters to cast a ballot and effectively exercise the electoral franchise as a result of the 2013 state law. That argument was made more difficult under black voter turnout increased in 2014, he wrote. There is significant, shameful past discrimination. In North Carolina's recent history, however, certainly for the last quarter century, there is little official discrimination to consider. He is completely and totally correct. A federal judge now upholds North Carolina's voter ID law. Good for him. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer. Coming up in just a couple of seconds, a very strange quandary regarding Donald Trump. Don't move.
Dennis Gibbs, the boat guy here, host of the Big Boat and Outdoor Show, sponsored by DallasBoatsForSale.com. Let me break it down for you. We talk about boats and boating, boat ramps, marinas, lakes and water levels, boat sales, sailboats, sailing, anchoring, sinking, grounding, buying, selling, and enjoying the fun out on the water. You picking up what I'm putting down? If it floats, we talk about it every Saturday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer.
Okay, we're here at CreditRepair.com, the most recognized name in the industry for resolving credit report issues and getting those scores up. With me, I got Aaron. Aaron, there's a lot going on here today.
That's right, Justin. Last year alone, we had over 500,000 calls from people needing help with improving their credit reports.
And no wonder. What you're doing works, right?
It sure does. Our proven process actually can help remove those unfair or inaccurate items from your credit report. And on average, people who have used our service have seen significant improvement in their credit scores month after month.
So when it comes to getting things in life that you really want, like a home, car, or even a new job, the first thing lenders usually look at is credit. So don't let a low credit score hold you back. Call CreditRepair.com today. And so what happens when they call?
Well, when you call, we're actually going to give you a free credit report, a free credit score, and a free evaluation to tell you what's going on right over the phone.
Call CreditRepair.com at 800-231-1735. That's 800-231-1735. 800-231-1735.
I used to love wearing dresses and shorts. Then I started getting spider veins, and even worse, those embarrassing, bulging, varicose veins. For a while, I covered up my legs, but then I discovered Vein Clinics of America.
Vein Clinics of America is the oldest, largest, most experienced vein treatment center in the U.S. And for 35 years, they've been the leading expert in the treatment of vein disease. Using state-of-the-art laser and minimally invasive treatments, they can begin restoring the natural beauty of your legs in as little as an hour with no downtime, and most treatments are covered by your insurance.
My legs look great and feel great. I even love wearing dresses and shorts again.
Make sure your legs look and feel their best for spring. Call now and schedule a free fast-track consultation to find out how you can finally get rid of those embarrassing varicose and spider veins. Space is limited, so call 800-375-4806. That's 800-375-4806. 800-375-4806.
660 AM The Answer. KSKY Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. The official radio station of Decision 2016. The most important election of our lifetime.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Jane Metzler.
I consider myself the presumptive nominee, absolutely. I mean,
Donald Trump after tonight's clean sweep of 5 Eastern Republican primaries.
This one's a diverse victory. I mean, you go Rhode Island, and you go Maryland, and you go Connecticut, and you go Pennsylvania, and you go, I mean, the whole thing, Delaware. And every one of them was conclusive, and every state is so different.
And he added,
winning it, it's over. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
He again urged Bernie Sanders to run as an independent. Fox News projecting Sanders has won the Rhode Island Democratic primary, now projecting Hillary Clinton has won in Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. Thank you all so much. Clinton addressing supporters in Philadelphia tonight. Fox News, we report, you decide.
This is 660 AM, The Answer. The Mark Davis Show. Mark Davis Show.
So is this another great night for Trump or the last great night for Trump? There are states ahead that Cruz will win, but will it be enough to make the argument the convention should be wide open if nobody's at 1237, no matter how close Trump may be? He'll be somewhat closer for our Wednesday program, so join us for analysis, other overnight news, and, of course, weather updates. We will see you on our Wednesday program.
The Mark Davis Show. Weekday mornings at 7, right before Mike Gallagher at 10 on 660 AM, The Answer.
You have new wood floors and they look gorgeous. That's the good news. The not so good news, they'll eventually have to be cleaned. More good news, there are plenty of wood floor care products to choose from. Bad news, most products will leave a micro layer of residue each time you clean. The really bad news, eventually your wood floor will get dull and hazy almost regardless of which product you clean it with. Now the great news, Dowworth Clean can remove that unsightly buildup from your wood floor, revealing the original finish once again. At Dowworth, we're more than just carpet cleaners. We clean, restore, polish, and protect every type of flooring in your home, including wood, stone, tile, and even concrete. Call 267-8433 today and ask about a complete flooring makeover for your home. Find out why for over 39 years we've been saying,
because the next best thing to do is Dowworth Clean.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Abacus Foundation Repair. You and I both know that the warmer, wetter seasons in Texas can give us real foundation problems. Wet spells, dry spells. Let me put you in touch with Abacus Foundation Repair if you even think you've got any kind of foundation problem. This is what I did. I called them. You'll be glad you did too. At 972-406-9000. Call the right people first. Abacus Foundation Repair, 972-406-9000. Why are they the right people to call if you got cracks in the walls or sheetrock or doors that are sticking or any kind of suspicion? Because they're going to map your house with the skill of an engineer. Look for possible causes like a plumbing issue so the problem doesn't come back. When they're done, you get a lifetime warranty. You can transfer free and clear to any new owner. It adds to your home's value. North Texas homeowners trust Abacus Foundation Repair, so give them a call. 972-406-9000. Abacus, A-B-A-C-U-S, abacusfoundationrepair.com. You'll be glad you called, so call 972-406-9000 or abacusfoundationrepair.com.
Are you being denied credit? Are you paying high interest rates? At creditrepair.com, we know life happens. Divorce, medical bills, student loans, and many other reasons why credit scores fall. That's why at creditrepair.com, we're committed to helping folks get the second chance they deserve to improve their credit.
CreditRepair.com is actually acting as an advocate for me. Things that I thought when you paid them off, they were still on there. Things that I didn't even know were on there were on there, but they got them removed. I feel it doing what they said they'd do and beyond. I'm not going to abuse this second chance that they gave me. I'm in the process now of buying a home. CreditRepair.com actually does work.
We can help you get a second chance at great credit. The consultation is free and includes a free credit score and summary credit report. We'll review your current credit situation right on the phone with a game plan to restore it. Call 800-231-1735. That's 800-231-1735. Again, 800-231-1735. 800-231-1735.
Hey, everybody, Mark Davis. I spend a lot of time talking to people about their political passions. We make that clear through various things, voting, contributing. Did you know that you are contributing to Hillary with your cell phone bill? Could be. If you're in bed with Big Mobile, you are contributing to Hillary because they are. Can you find a conservative cell phone company? Sure can. Meet Patriot Mobile. In the election of 2012, there were some liberal phone companies that targeted Tea Party members of Congress, and they took some of them down. Patriot Mobile wanted to do something on the other side, a conservative cell phone company with the same quality of service, better prices, supporting better causes. And right now, you got a free Apple iPhone 6 waiting for you with a $60 a month unlimited talk text data plan. $45 a month gets you a free Apple iPhone 5C or Samsung Galaxy S4. Support better causes. Get the same quality of service. Buy out of your current contract. Keep your same phone number. Patriot Mobile. 1-800-A-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com. Come on, join the revolution. Join Patriot Mobile today. 1-800-A-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com.
Why are so many people turning to the Nutrimost system at Fat Loss DFW? I'll let my buddy Nick tell you.
Well, first of all, I've lost weight.
Yeah, you have.
31 pounds. Heather, I know you lost 36 pounds.
I have, and I did.
And that's awesome. But here's the best part. When you're done with the 40-day program, you're not taking supplements. You're not eating protein bars. Forget that packaged food.
Ugh, packaged food. What is that stuff anyway, dude?
I don't think it's food. And you don't have to eat it with Fat Loss DFW because their program works.
I'm Dr. Jimmy from Fat Loss DFW, and I love hearing things like this. People lose the weight, they lose the fat, they keep it off, and there is no weird maintenance program afterward. When you're done, you're done. You're lean, you're mean, you're healthy for life.
I'm telling you it works. So here's what you need to do. Make the decision right now. Pick up the phone, dial 844-801-THIN, 844-801-THIN, or go to the web. Look up fatlossdfw.com now.
Mom. Yes, honey? They're told that Cheerios is good for your heart. Is that true?
Says here that Cheerios has whole grain oats that can help remove some cholesterol, and that's heart healthy.
Saying I don't know is no longer acceptable. This is 660 AM, The Answer. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is The Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Reports. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number is 866-660-5759. So, how many times have you had a conversation like this? Hi, John David Wells. Hey, JD, man, how are you? I'm doing great, man. What about you? I'm doing fine. Listen, before we go any further, tell me you're not supporting Donald Trump. How many times have you had that conversation? I've had that conversation at least a dozen times. People have said Donald Trump is an automatic disqualifier for any kind of conversation, any kind of friendship, any kind of relationship based on your political support of Donald Trump. Is it time for us to stop making that a prerequisite for any kind of personal interaction? Is it time for us to abandon that? Is it time for us to start hounding people who say never Trump? Eight 660-5759. There's an easier way to ask this question. Here it is. If you have a problem with Donald Trump, who would make a better president? Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? 866-660-5759. 866-660-5759. The candidacy of Donald Trump is really taking some very impressively talented, intelligent people and making them my way or the highway. If you support Donald Trump, we're not talking. Is it time for us to stop that? Now, remember, I voted for Ted Cruz. I'm a Ted Cruz supporter. But I got to be honest with you, Donald Trump has just flat defeated everybody. He's just flat beaten everyone. A prominent Republican describing a Trump-related disagreement with another influential Republican with whom he had been close for decades sent me a note that stated things in a matter-of-fact way. Quote, "We had a friendship-ending email exchange. All because of Donald Trump, whether you support him or whether you don't." Others have confided that differences over the Trump candidacy have caused such a loss of respect, they feared their friendships would not survive. And even if they did, they'd never be the same. Let me ask you again. Is Donald Trump that polarizing an individual? Can you honestly and sincerely lose respect for somebody who supports Donald Trump for president? Would you indeed destroy a friendship, a long-lasting, decades-long friendship, over whether or not a friend of yours supports Trump or not? And does that come to any kind of understanding in your brain that might be considered the least bit healthy? 866-660-5759. Let me get to Ray in Plano. Ray, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far as to end a friendship over it, but I would probably lose a little respect for the person.
I think that's fascinating. I think that's fascinating. Why would you do that?
Again, because I believe he's probably the most unacceptable candidate that in my life, which is not inconsiderable, I've ever seen.
Why?
As I tried to explain one other time, he says some of the most incredibly either lies or delusions that I have ever heard.
Let me hear a few.
I only can tell. I'll tell you one right off the bat. But the last time I brought it up to you, it confused you a little bit, and you misinterpreted what I said.
Well, I don't know that it confused me. Maybe you just didn't say it well.
All right. Donald Trump claimed that he could eliminate the national debt in 7 years.
Yeah.
That is an absurd statement.
Well, I haven't heard him make it. So all I can tell you is that if he did make it, maybe he realized that that was not something he could do.
Well, he said it a couple of times, and as a matter of fact, Cruz even made a point of it the other day, and as one of the more absurd things that Donald Trump said.
Here's something that I've been listening to, and maybe you've heard this too, regarding the national debt.
Mm-hmm.
It is a plan whereby you essentially remove, I think it's 1% from every bill, every spending project everywhere in the United States government. You remove 1% and you pay off the national debt in 10 years.
Again, and someone doesn't know their math.
Well, but the thing about it is what is that plan? You've heard that plan.
No, JD. That's
it's either 10%. It's either 10% or 1%, and I think it's 1%.
JD, that was to have a balanced budget.
No,
well,
the balanced
one
budget
that you talked about that Ryan talked about was balanced budget, and the Clinton thing was also balanced budget. It was never eliminating the debt.
Hang on a second. Let me explain something.
Okay.
Let me just work this out here.
Sure.
Because I've got a computer here, and
Sure.
and there was a way to do it that, and I remember us talking before. So let's continue our conversation about Donald Trump. You're saying that he is a terrible candidate, etc. Is he worse than Obama?
Oh, I believe he's the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, but I want you to explain to me how Donald Trump would be worse than President Obama.
I wouldn't even know where to begin. I don't think that Donald Trump has any redeeming virtues at all.
You don't believe that Donald Trump could have, say, for example, how is it that, okay, let me ask you this. If you don't think that Donald Trump has any shot at being the president of the United States.
No, I didn't say that, unfortunately. I think he has a shot.
Well, okay, whatever. But I'm talking about executing the office.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, you don't believe he has any shot at executing the office of the presidency of the United States. Okay, that means that you believe that Donald Trump is certainly not the intellectual equal or competitor of, say, for example, George W. Bush.
I don't think he's the equal. George W. Bush was a good man. Probably wasn't the sharpest one we ever had, and I think some of the things that we suffered was as a result of that. However, I think he was a very honorable guy. Again,
I do too. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything nasty about George W. Bush. I just happen to think that a guy who spent his entire life in the private sector becoming a billionaire obviously knows something. He knows something, Ray.
Yeah, he knows something. He knows promotion. That's what he got his. That you see, I have a little bit of, because I have family in New York in that same business, have seen Donald Trump in action for years. And Donald Trump is a great promoter, but he isn't a man of substance or, quite honestly, in my opinion, a moral individual.
Well, you know, okay, so let me ask you this.
Sure.
Okay, so let's go ahead and transfer this conversation to the people who have put him in this position.
Yes.
So you believe that the American public is wrong?
Well, again, I don't think it's the American public. I think there's a hardcore of people that do that. When you talk about just sheer numbers, the last time we discussed it, I looked at the numbers, and as just as an example, and of 22 million Republican votes, he had gotten 8 million of them. Okay, which was about 36%. So again, it wasn't like it was landslides. Even tonight, when the opponents have really given up, he still doesn't get nearly the number of votes that the Democrats get. Sheer numbers of votes. Okay, these are blue states he's dealing in right now, very blue. And yeah, of what's left, he does well.
All I can tell you is this: he has gotten millions upon millions upon millions of American votes.
Yeah, as of before this last deal, he'd had 8 million. Cruz had 6.
And all I can tell you is about any of that is that I'm not prepared to say that the American people are wrong.
Well, sure you are, aren't you? I mean,
no.
Oh, okay.
No, I am not. Listen. I will say that maybe a few people can get it wrong. I may say that when it comes right down to it, it is possible, especially with the way the primaries are being done now.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible indeed that there can be some manipulation and so on and so on. But if you are looking at a primary process in the United States and you think it's flawed, and I do, it's flawed against Donald Trump, and he's still winning.
All right.
So what I see here is not a failure of Donald Trump. I don't see a failure of the American people. I see a failure of the Republican Party to be able to put either a plan in place that people can understand and people believe. Remember, what we're seeing here is nothing short of the Republican Party completely losing its credibility with all of their voters.
Sure.
Okay, there's no other way to say it. This is an embarrassing defeat, not for the American people, not necessarily even for the Democrats, but a huge, stinging, horrifying defeat for the Republican Party and their leadership.
All right.
So that being said, what we have here is we have a process that may be, in fact, restorative. It may be curative, as opposed to more of the status quo that makes it worse and worse and worse. Remember, there were Republicans in play when we built all of this national debt that you think is so terrible, which it is, by the way, that you think is so terrible, and that Donald Trump should have some plan to fix. You get the last word.
Yeah. Again, he has no credibility. He doesn't have a plan to fix it. He's just bombastic.
Okay. All right. Ray, I appreciate your time. I do. But at the end of all of it, The political process, both Republican and Democrat, have badly served this nation. And Donald Trump is one of the guys that might be able to fix it.
This is a special report from SRN News, the North Eastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines. Donald Trump sweeping all 5 Republican primaries today and says he feels like the presumptive nominee.
I think the party is seeing me that way. I'm getting calls that, as I said, you wouldn't believe. I'm getting calls from people that I really can't even know how they can do it because they've said such horrible things about me, and now they want to join the team.
Trump performed well across nearly all ages and education levels. As for Ted Cruz,
this campaign moves back to more favorable terrain.
Cruz campaigning in Indiana. Hillary Clinton picking up big wins in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware and sounding like a unifier.
Whether you support Senator Sanders or you support me, there's much more that unites us than divides us.
This has been a special report from SRN News, the Northeastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make sure to tune in to Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Good Feet. I've described the many ways the right arch supports can help. Look, for some people, foot pain isn't just an inconvenience. It's a threat to the very work they do.
A construction guy comes in and told me, I'm afraid I'm going to get fired. My feet hurt so bad. I can't do what I need to do at work. You got to help me. It's unbelievable how quickly the product changes some things for some people.
If you're one of those people with foot pain affecting your livelihood, real help is here in all 3 locations of Good Feet: Plano, Fort Worth, and Southlake. The adventure begins at goodfeetdfw.com, goodfeetdfw.com, where you can get out of pain today. If you're working out a lot and you want to avoid foot pain, arch support means everything. Men, women, all the shapes and sizes and styles you need from Good Feet. Again, they are in Plano, Fort Worth, and Southlake. Check them out at goodfeetdfw.com. That's goodfeetdfw.com. It's America's #1 arch support, goodfeetdfw.com.
Have you been holding out for a good deal to replace that old AC system? Well, now there's a new program you just can't pass up. I'm Jeff Stewart with Reliant Air Conditioning. You may have already heard that you can save over $3,500 on a new Infinity system with Carrier's Cool Cash, but did you know that for a limited time, you can also get an additional $1,800 off from your utility provider? That's right. And when you combine these 2 programs, we're talking saving over $5,000 on a brand new AC system that can cut your electric bill in half. But the utility funds are limited, and the program will end when the money runs out. Right now, we're scheduling free estimates on a first-come, first-served basis. So call now. Better yet, call 2 other companies first and then call Reliant Air Conditioning, and you'll see how we've been gimmick-free since '83. Call 877-YOUR-HERO. That's 877-968-7437, or visit us online at ReliantAirConditioning.com.
Reliant Air Conditioning. Call 877-YOUR-HERO.
Are you ready to take your education to the next level? Arizona State University now offers more than 100 top-tier degree programs, 100% online. With ASU's highly ranked online programs, you'll earn the same degree as our on-campus students, with the ability to learn wherever you want, whenever you want. Same world-renowned faculty, same leading education, same global recognition from one of the top universities in the world. Call 1-800-400-8796. That's 1-800-400-8796.
I'm Jamie from Sherman Oaks, and I just graduated with my degree from Arizona State University. I chose ASU because I received the quality education I deserve in the major I wanted, all from my home.
Jamie's not the only one to earn a degree from ASU. There are over 100 degree programs offered 100% online from one of the top universities. Now's the time to learn more about earning your degree online from Arizona State University. Call 1-800-400-8796. That's 1-800-400-8796.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, one of the highest compliments a company could receive is just one word: integrity. Now, it's a word we don't throw around lightly, and a word we don't just give to ourselves. Now, you have to earn the right to be labeled with the word integrity. Well, the people of DFW have spoken, and that's why there's Integrity Roofing. Now, when I want work done on my home, I obviously want it done right, but deep down, all I want is for that company to be a company that I can trust, one that's going to treat me like a human being and not a dollar sign. Now, at Integrity Roofing, well, that's the name of their game, integrity. Integrity Roofing will always be there for you as those spring and summer hailstorms approach and to literally protect your roof right over your head. Now, Integrity Roofing wants to be the name that you trust to make sure that your home looks as good as new after any storm. I trust them. You can trust them. Go to their website, integrityroofingcompany.com. That's integrityroofingcompany, one word.com today. And when you're looking for a roofer, there's only one name to look for, and that's Integrity. Integrity Roofing.
Hey, Mom, I got your message. Do you need me to come home early?
Hi, dear. We're all doing fine. Slowed down all day, and thanks to Blue Emu, neither have I.
But I thought you said...
Well, I tried your father's Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Relief Cream. It worked fast to relieve the pain in my achy muscles and joints.
Blue Emu, huh?
That's right, and it's odor-free.
Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Relief. Beat the pain and enjoy life. Available at Walmart and Walgreens.
660 AM. 660 AM. The Answer. 660 AM. TheAnswer.com. If it's important to you, we're talking about it right now on the Wells Report on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. So, friendship in the age of Trump. That's the headline in the New York Times. We had one guy call up and say that he would lose respect for somebody who wanted to support Donald Trump. Ray's got a problem. He's going to be pretty lonely here in a while because millions upon millions upon millions of Americans have supported Donald Trump throughout this presidential primary campaign. This man may well be the next president of the United States. And the reason that he might be the next president of the United States is because those people who have stood to serve the American people have done so poorly that they have lost their credibility. They've lost their credibility across the board with most Americans. Part of me believes that the reason that Bernie Sanders has had any kind of time whatsoever doing the things that he has done as a serious candidate for the Democrat presidential nomination is because Hillary Clinton has no credibility whatsoever when it comes to being the president of the United States. The Republican Party has said time and time again that they will do this and they will do that and they will do that and they will do this, and they've done nothing. We are still saddled with the embarrassment, the national embarrassment of Obamacare. The president has yet to suffer the fusillade of bills coming to his desk that would force his veto. And the reason that the president has not had to veto at least 25 bills at this particular moment is because the Republican Party doesn't have the guts to play politics in the new age. They just don't have the stones for it. So here's what I suggest. What I suggest is that when you have so badly damaged the American political process, you have to blame the people responsible for the damage. Is that Donald Trump? No, it's not Donald Trump. You may believe that Donald Trump is not capable of being the president of the United States. You, the people that we have elected time and time again in this nation, that has now set this nation on a path toward a $20 trillion national debt by the end of the year. Those are the people that do not have the capability to be the president of the United States. And you know it. Donald Trump may not necessarily be a standard candidate, one that we are familiar with or anything of the kind, but you know what Donald Trump is? Something different, something new. And he could not possibly do worse than those who have come before him. Can he? This is the Wells Report.
Hey, everybody, Mark Davis. Let's talk about life after 40, a land I've occupied for a good while. Yeah, remember 32? Both age and waist size? Yep, seems like a while. Hair now vanishing where you want it and cropping up where you don't. Reading glasses? Ugh. You used to be able to see like a champ, but now you're lucky to read past a headline without holding it at arm's length. And don't get me started on text messages and restaurant menus. Now when you head to the store for a six-pack, it's probably a six-pack of reading glasses. A pair in the car, two on the desk, some in your pocket, one by the bed, and you can never find them where you need them. You are bummed. There's nothing you can do but wait. You are not stuck with the reading glasses. Climb an Evangelista Eye Center with the corneal inlay procedure. The corneal inlay. Learn more at myinlay.com. Specially designed for over 40 reading vision. So quit complaining. Do something about it. The corneal inlay at Climb an Evangelista Eye Center. 1-800-714-2020. 1-800-714-2020. Or myinlay, myinlay, myinlay.com.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And the Grammy goes to. And the American Music Award goes to.
And the Grammy goes to.
And the Grammy goes to.
Mr. Stephen Curtis Chapman. With a career spanning over 3 decades, Stephen Curtis Chapman has pretty much done it all, except for one thing.
Hi, we're Third Day.
Be a member of Third Day? One night where two of our industry's top performers literally merge into each other's bands to play each other's songs that you've loved for years. Our sister station's doing it again. The 94.9 KLTY Concert Series welcomes Stephen Curtis Chapman with Third Day at the Verizon Theater on April 30th.
We're forming sort of one new band called SCC 3D, I think is what we're calling it.
You'll probably never see anything like this again. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com. That's AXS.com. One night you'll never forget. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com.
Hey, everybody, Mark Davis for my friends at Sherry's Berries. Here comes Mother's Day. I'm so glad to send all my friends in the audience to my friends at Sherry's Berries. It all starts with the berries. In fact, the website is berries.com. Go there. Make sure you enter the code name Davis when you click the microphone, because that's where all these specials are going to play out for you. Berries dipped in magnificent chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolatey goodness. Pair it up with some flowers, various other great things they have at that berries.com website. It's all for mom, and it's all good, and it's all at great savings if you do the following. Go to berries.com, click the radio microphone in the upper right, and then enter my last name, Davis, D-A-V-I-S, for all fantastic berries dipped in awesome chocolate, fantastic other things you can only see if you go to berries.com, B-E-R-R-I-E-S, berries.com, and then click the mic in the upper right, enter my last name, Davis, as the code word. Berries.com, B-E-R-R-I-E-S, berries.com, click the mic and enter D-A-V-I-S.
Hey, it's Flo, and this is my impression of a home inspector who needs friends. Yeah, so these studs need to be 1/4 inch further apart, give or take 1/2 inch. It's got to be just right, you know, like the coverage Progressive provides for your construction business. Otherwise, I'll have to shut you guys down. But if I do, maybe you could come out for Tuesday trivia. Fair warning, I'm kind of a know-it-all. You'll see what I mean at board game night. Hey, what's your number?
Commercial insurance that's perfect for your small business. Visit progressivecommercial.com to learn more. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Any Napa guy knows, and science proves, the best minivan is the one you've already got. Part kid transporter, part drywall mover. Who cares if the faux wood grain is a little faded? That was a platinum package option in 1987. With over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. Because it's not old, it's vintage. That's Napa know-how.
What is Pink Impact?
I followed my heart and showed up to Pink Impact.
I just had a moment with God, and I just came out a completely different person.
God healed me at Pink Impact. I'm amazed at how much these blessings have impacted my life. And it will be a day that I will never forget.
Pink Impact, May 13th and 14th at the Fort Worth Convention Center with Priscilla Shire, Christine Kane, Charlotte Gamble, and Worship with Carrie Job. Get your tickets now at pinkimpact.com. That's pinkimpact.com.
The year is not so new anymore, but your carpets can look that way with Zero Res. Hey, Mark Davis, my friends at Zero Res just gave me a fantastic carpet cleaning, and I'm offering it to you. $33 a room. $33 a room by calling 214-37-CLEAN. Then, plus 100 square feet of tile cleaning for free and a $50 gift card from Estilo Gaucho. It is pre-treated, clean, and sanitized. Best carpet cleaning ever from my friends at Zero Res. $33 a room. Call them now for the special. 214-37-CLEAN for Zero Res. 214-37-CLEAN.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. Now, by popular demand, The Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
Oh.
You are listening to The Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 866-660-5759. There are people who say that I will lose my personal respect for you if you support Donald Trump. There are people who will say that if you don't support Donald Trump, I'm not going to talk to you any longer. How did we ever get to this point? Do we need to stay here? Is Donald Trump that much of a polarizing figure? 866-660-5759. Let me get to Dawn in Dallas. Dawn, thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Hey, JD. I just wanted to mention, I've been a Cruz supporter ever since, the get-go. And ever since, his alliance with Kasich, I have been so turned off, that now I'm a Trump supporter. I can't explain it, but I've lost a lot of respect for Cruz in doing this.
Well, in my particular case, I was a supporter. I'm still a supporter of Ted Cruz. I can see the political ideology behind it. Yeah. And what it does is it does provide an opportunity for Ted Cruz to go head to head against Donald Trump without John Kasich being there. It also gives John Kasich an opportunity to go against Donald Trump without Cruz being there in both Oregon and New Mexico. It seems to me that what's going to end up happening is that certainly John Kasich is about to discover the limits to being able to defy gravity. I'm reasonably sure that he's going to get his clock completely cleaned in the next few days against Donald Trump running alone. Now, with regards to Ted Cruz, remember what the game is. The game is to get Donald Trump to lose a whole bunch of primaries. Well, they've got a long way to go to be able to make that happen, and I'll tell you why. Because Donald Trump just won 5 East Coast primaries in a row.
Yeah, but do you think they did a deal where, hey, if you get president, I'm vice president kind of thing?
No, I don't think that was the case. I think that what they were trying to do is they were just trying to get to the convention and see what they couldn't do about maybe getting the nomination. Anything that happens after that is, the depth of the deal is only to get to the nominating convention. That's all.
Yeah, but they can't get the delegates or the the amount, the 1237.
They can. Look, the thing about it is that in my read of the rules up to this point, Donald Trump will make it through a second ballot and win on the second ballot anyway. I mean, if everything that Ted Cruz does works out, if he gets every delegate in the second ballot, he still has to do something about the 300 delegates that are still obligated to Donald Trump on the second ballot. Okay. And that's going to be enough to win the whole thing. Report.
So does that, if he gets to the 1237, if Cruz gets to that, then is that a negative 300 that he has to make up for from Donald? Does that go against him? Is that what you're saying?
No. What I'm saying is that okay, so they go through the first ballot and Donald Trump has 1,100 votes and Ted Cruz has 590. Okay, so in the second ballot, Ted Cruz, because he's got all these second ballot delegates now obligated to him. Okay, so he's got 1,090. Well, in that same second ballot, Donald Trump is going to get 300 more votes that are already guaranteed to him. And so he wins the nomination.
Got it.
See what I mean? So, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, it is all over but the show.
This is a special report from SRN News, the North Eastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines. It was a humble-sounding Donald Trump celebrating a 5-state sweep in today's primaries.
And I just want to tell you, for the 5 states, I am so honored. This was, to me, our biggest night.
Trump says he feels like the presumptive nominee. Political analyst Gary Bauer says it's not over yet.
It brings him a lot closer to the delegates he needs, but it doesn't change the fact that there are 10 contests still ahead. And some experts think that the one in Indiana next Tuesday may be the most important one.
Hillary Clinton celebrating impressive wins in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, and Connecticut.
We will unify our party to win this election and build an America where we can all rise together. An America where we lift each other up instead of tearing each other down.
This has been a special report from SRN News, the Northeastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 866-660-5759. A couple of things have been going on here. Some statements that I want to go through with you just a little bit here. These are some political statements that need to be covered. I also found a very interesting article on paying off the national debt. And the reason I did that is because Ray was he's very focused on that particular issue. We've talked a couple of times, and he's very hung up on that issue. That's his issue. And the thing about that is that while I understand that is indeed his issue, there are other ones that we have to deal with here. 866-660-5759 is our telephone number. 866-660-5759. That is our number. You can get in touch with us about anything you want to talk about. I mean, you know, from a standpoint of what we've got here, we started out tonight by covering the Northeastern primaries. 5 primaries tonight, all on the Republican side, won by Donald Trump. Donald Trump then makes an amazing, you know, I guess it was, what do you think that was? About a half hour, 45 minutes? That press conference, 45-minute press conference after he gives his speech. And it was one of those things that was just electric. It was truly amazing to listen to Donald Trump talk to the press and the world and the voters of the United States. Sure-footed, brilliant press conference. Let me get to Rick in Houston. Rick, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hi.
Hey, JD. How you doing?
Hanging tough, man. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. You'll have to excuse me. I'm incredibly nervous because actually I disagree with you on Trump.
Don't. Listen, man. Listen, what you have to understand is that we have to get this right. Okay. I'm a Trump guy. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm a Cruz supporter. But what I am doing right this very moment is I'm looking at Trump as a polarizing fixture. Or a polarizing figure in the United States right now, where people have threatened me with my friendships with them because they think I support him. In point of fact, I don't. But that's not the point. The point of the matter is that how many 10 million people have voted for the guy? I mean,
well, you made a comment to Ray about can 10 million, can 10 million people be wrong about Trump?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Was the American people wrong about Obama?
Twice, in my view, yeah.
So I honestly believe that 10 million people could be wrong about Trump. I understand the anger and the frustration of the people in our federal government, but I look at what Trump has said. Trump has said that he loves the Canadian healthcare system, and he would like to emulate the Canadian healthcare system, that no one under his administration will go without healthcare. He wants wants to raise the tariff 40%. 40% is going to kill the economy because the middle class, the poor, are going to pay with it.
Well, hang
Where
on,
the
hang
rich
on
can
just a
afford
second.
it.
Hang on just a second. First of all, you got to understand that all of this is just so much smoke. I mean, these are just general principles. Let me give you an idea. Let me fix one of those for you. Okay. All right. So NAFTA, TPP, our workings with the European Union through the World Monetary Exchange, the World Monetary System. Would you say that we, the people of the United States, pay more for other people's countries than they do?
Without a doubt.
Okay.
I wholeheartedly believe that. But
Okay. Stop. Okay. It's all right. We're just going to take this step at a time. Okay. It's all right. It's okay. Okay. So what we have here is we have a country, your country, my country, our country, floating the boat for all of Western Europe. I mean, because Donald Trump is correct. We put too much money into NATO. We put too much money into the United Nations. We put too much money into these international conglomerate, international agencies that we really don't get much out of. Now, how do you get people to pay more for NATO, for example? How do you do that?
Well, I believe what you're going to have to do is that you're going to have to force other countries to come up with the money.
Exactly, but how do you do it? But how do you do it, Rick?
Well, it's not so much NATO; it's the tariff that he wants to put on.
Well, but listen to this.
Nations.
But listen to this. Okay, so he says, fine, we're going to put a 40% tariff on everything coming out of Europe. All of the goods and services coming out of Europe, we're going to put a 40% tariff on because we're going to recoup this money for NATO at one way or another.
Well,
so what what will the NATO countries do then?
What the NATO countries will do if there's a 40% tariff, it's not so much the NATO countries, it's the businesses in those countries. And they're just going to end up raising their prices.
But the market value, the market value is not going to expand enough to have anybody buy any of it. So what's going to end up happening is that the trade imbalance between the United States and the Eurozone, from the Eurozone standpoint, the trade deficit for them is going to go through the roof. And their countries are going to say, okay, they're doing this because we won't pay 20% more for NATO. When what we're doing here is we're losing, just pick a number, we're losing 35% every single year in GDP because we won't pay 20% more on NATO. For crying out loud, let's pay 20% more on NATO. So what ends up happening is that Donald Trump gets the money that he wants to support NATO from these other countries, but what he has to do it is threaten them with an unbearable tariff that wouldn't affect we, the people of the United States, not one iota. It's going to affect everybody in Europe, not us.
I don't believe what you're doing is you're combining NATO with the 40% tariff.
What I'm saying is this, Rick. What I'm saying is this: is that it's like how does Donald Trump get Mexico to pay for the wall? They're going to pay for the wall one way or another. Either you're going to pay more to bring Mexican goods into the United States.
I personally don't believe he's going to build a wall. If you want to know the truth,
well, but let's just assume that he's going to, Rick.
Okay.
You see, what you have to understand is that this guy's negotiating now. He is negotiating in front of everyone.
I understand, but
what he is doing is
with negotiations.
And
but
what
what's
he's
going to happen when other countries, when the leaders of other countries say, "No, we're not doing this."
Then what's going to end up happening is that you and I and everybody in the United States will just have to make do with American-made goods, which is going to kick American manufacturing in the pants, which is what Donald Trump wants to do anyway.
Well, it's like take the Apple iPhone. We pay $600 for it because it's made in China. If it's made in America, the cost is going to go up to $2,000 for an iPhone.
No, it won't.
It's made here.
No, it won't. And the reason it will not go up because we won't pay for it.
Exactly. So nobody's going to buy it.
Well, then what's going? Yeah, people are going to buy it. People are going to buy it, Rick, because they're going to lower the prices.
I still don't think it. I still think the tariff is going to kill us. You talked about floating the boat of Europe.
Look.
The boat's going to sink.
Look, the simple case of the matter is, it's not our boat. We don't care.
But we're going to be in that boat.
No, we're not going to be in the boat. They're in the boat. We're outside of it. They're either going to start playing ball with us, or they're going to have significant problems economically they can't afford anyway. They don't have to. You see, the point of the matter. The point of the matter is, Rick. The point of the matter is this. I want you to think this over. I'm gonna come back to you after the break. Look, the point of the matter is this. The Eurozone has no choice but to play ball with Donald Trump's economic policies. They have no choice. This is the Wells Report.
Hugh Hewitt breaks down who is voting for Trump.
He does not win well with the college-educated, even high school degrees, actually, and people who are doing okay in the new global economy. He does well with the Rust Belt, with older, white, middle class, often disappointed with economic circumstances voters, and with a group of people who are fundamentally opposed to Washington, D.C.
The Hugh Hewitt Show, weekday mornings at 5, right before Mark Davis at 7 on 660 AM. The Answer.
You need a plan as you get closer to retirement. A plan that'll take you from where you are now to the retirement that you've always dreamed about. The first step on that path is to tune into the Wealth Smart Radio Show, Sundays at 7 a.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer. You only get to retire once, so it's really important you do it right. And your host, Reed Johnson, president of Lake Point Advisory Group, helps people retire successfully every day. So don't miss Wealth Smart every Sunday at 7 a.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Manzeri, owner of Statewide Remodeling. You know, since our inception in 1994, we've evolved into the largest bathroom remodeling company in Texas, with offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. You know, what we found is that most bathroom remodeling companies are still using old technology in the bathroom remodeling business. I'm not saying they necessarily do bad work. They just are not keeping up with all the new trends and product availability, as well as what's new that goes into the wet area of the bathroom to prevent leaks and low maintenance products that reduce mold and mildew. If you're going to spend your money to remodel a bathroom, you owe it to yourself to at least get an estimate from Statewide Remodeling. We do not charge for a design consultation. We'll come to your home and show you all the options, help with your design, and give you a down-to-the-penny price that's good for 30 days. After that, it's up to you. You can also come by one of our DFW area showrooms or visit us online anytime at statewideremodeling.com. If you call now, we're offering 20% off your complete bath remodel. The number to call is 888-270-7095. That's 888-270-7095.
Welcome back, Summer. It's a hot one. This is Nolan Ryan. Go with the pros who know how to beat Texas heat. American Standard Air. Born and bred in Lone Star State. That's American Standard. Comfort the way you like it. That's right, Nolan. And your trusted independent American Standard dealer is Mathis Air and Heat. Why is that? Mathis Air has been serving you and your neighbors for over 20 years. They offer 24-hour emergency service and 100% financing for 60 months and 0% interest on a new system with approved credit. So make the call today for your free in-home estimate or $49 tune-up at 972-279-4COOL. That's 972-279-4COOL. Or go to mathisair.com. That's mathisair.com. Get 0% APR for 60 months with a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call 1-888-534-6894 for details about credit costs and terms. For new accounts, the APR for purchase is 28.99%, subject to credit approval.
Attention, all timeshare owners. Were you a victim of a high-pressure or dishonest timeshare sales agent? Were you confused with what you were buying or didn't provide what you were promised? Do you feel that you overpaid for your timeshare, can't afford it, or do you simply not use it anymore and just want out? If you answered yes to any of these questions, we can help. We're Timeshare Compliance, and every day we help hundreds of timeshare victims protect their rights. Our team can legally terminate your timeshare agreement, ending the payments forever, saving you thousands. In some cases, we can even get you a refund of the fees you previously paid. But you must act now. Call 800-811-7670 or visit timesharecompliance.com for a free consultation. We can help you save thousands, but only if you call 800-811-7670 or visit timesharecompliance.com for an absolutely free consultation. That's 800-811-7670 or timesharecompliance.com.
This is Eric Metaxas. You know I consider a college education important, but for many, leaving home to go off to college is not feasible, which is why I'm excited to tell you about Liberty University's online programs. Right now, more than 95,000 students around the world are enjoying the same quality education as Liberty's residential students in Lynchburg, Virginia. Liberty is consistently ranked among the top 10 online universities and offers hundreds of degrees. Liberty's online classes are taught in flexible, virtual classrooms by engaging and challenging professors. I know some of them, I've had them on my show. For them, teaching is more than a job, it's a calling. If you're looking for an affordable, quality college education without leaving home, check out Liberty's online programs. Just dial pound 250 on your cell and say the keywords Liberty University. Secure your education from the world's largest Christian university without leaving home. Dial pound 250 right now and say the keywords Liberty University.
660 AM, The Answer. If it's important to you, it's on the Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Rick is still joining us from Houston, Texas. By the way, how'd you find us?
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, you have used me on a commercial one time, or I've heard it a couple times. You and I talking about iHeartRadio.
You know, that's really interesting because I remember you now because, we do this thing where people call us on the telephone and say, okay, you made the promo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the way that works. Look, Rick, on all these things, Donald Trump is not going to do anything you're familiar with, and he's going to make you epically nervous. And
very much so.
And the thing about getting through the primary process is this. If you indeed put all of your policy eggs out there for everyone to see, what's the first thing that happens? Somebody wades into the policy basket with a hammer and starts breaking the eggs. Now, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you put your policy basket out there for people to start breaking the eggs with? Why would you do that? Because you weren't winning. Well, Donald Trump's been winning the whole time, so he hasn't really had to put any of that stuff out there yet.
Yeah, and I understand that a lot of these rules that for the election are different in every single state. And because of the situation with Trump and Cruz, what's going on is that most Americans aren't familiar with these rules.
And those rules are just epically terrible. I mean,
I agree. I agree.
This has been one of the worst things ever. But the thing about it is that Donald Trump has not circumvented those rules. He's lived and actually suffered because of them. And he's still winning. This is the Wells Report.
Hey, it's Mark Davis from my friend Josh DeShong. The real estate world of Josh DeShong sells houses when others cannot. I am living proof. Lisa and I are so thrilled with Josh. He came in and sold our house with blinding speed. You want a promise. You want somebody who's going to sit down with you and say, I promise to sell your house. Most folks won't do this. Josh will. His website is getsold.net, and he is telling you your house will get sold. How does he do this? Well, you call him at the number I'm about to give you. He sits down with you and says, let's arrive at an agreed upon price and an agreed upon time frame. If that house of yours does not sell at that price in that time frame, he, Josh DeShong, simply buys your house. That's it. You're out. You're at closing. You move on. So call him and call him today. Don't waste a day. 972-325-6644. 972-325-6644. D Magazine Best Realtor 3 years in a row. I'll love him forever. Josh DeShong, getsold.net. 972-325-6644.
Focus. You need it to run a business, so don't let legal questions distract you. Use LegalZoom instead. Things like lease agreements and employment laws get complicated, but they're part of running a business. That's why LegalZoom built a network of independent attorneys in 48 states. You can rely on them for the legal details without paying by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. So focus on growing your business and use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
Hey, Mom, I got your message. Do you need me to come home early?
Hi, dear. We're all doing fine. The kids haven't slowed down all day, and thanks to Blue Emu, neither have I.
But I thought you said...
Well, I tried your father's Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Relief Cream. It worked fast to relieve the pain in my achy muscles and joints.
Blue Emu, huh?
That's right. and it's odor-free.
Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Relief. Beat the pain and enjoy life. Available at Walmart and Walgreens.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had numerous credit cards and I was struggling with paying them off, so I made the call.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360.
The people at Trinity are very friendly. They will do whatever you need them to do in order for you to feel better about being in a very difficult place.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-758-5360.
660 AM The Answer. KSKY Balch Springs, Dallas, Fort Worth. The official radio station of Decision 2016. The most important election of our lifetime.
Fox News Radio, I'm Rich Dennison. Republican Donald Trump sweeping all 5 states holding primaries Tuesday.
I consider myself the presumptive nominee, absolutely.
For the Democrats, Hillary Clinton winning Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. She spoke to supporters in Philadelphia.
As a great Democratic president once said, there's nothing wrong with America that can't be cured by what's right with America.
Bernie Sanders winning Rhode Island. Indiana holds its primary next Tuesday. Grapefruit-sized hail damaging roofs and breaking car windows in northeast Kansas as severe storms move through the southern plains. So far, only one tornado has been reported. He was known for his shrewd business tactics in dealing with his record label, but Prince may not have gotten around to leaving a will. His sister asking a court to appoint a corporate trust firm to administer his multi-million-dollar estate. Fox News. We report, you decide.
660 AM The Answer.
How much of your life are you losing because of pain? I'm Dr. Chad Glines, DC at Genesis Back and Neck, and I really do want to give you your life back.
Hi, my name is Brenda. When I was at the most pain, I had been to 3 surgeons and 3 neurologists, and they told me that I could have a fulfilled life out of my wheelchair. When you have 3 doctors tell you you will never walk again, I had just about given up. He says, I'm pretty sure I can get you out of that wheelchair. I went, my first appointment was May 11th. On May 30th, I walked into the office on my own. No surgery, and it was amazing. If you're in any pain, please give Dr. Chad the chance to get you out of pain and to get you back on a normal life.
That just blesses me to hear that. At Genesis, we accept most major insurances, and your first visit will be at no charge. Call me. 817-328-1922. That's 817-328-1922 or online at genesisback.com.
Would you like the security of a 30-year fixed rate mortgage refi with our lowest payment possible, all without paying closing costs? Well, Cash Call Mortgage has a 30-year rate special starting at a rate so low, our lawyer won't let us say it on the radio. So call and find out how much this 30-year rate will cut your monthly payment while still knocking down your current loan balance. And the best part of all is the rate is fixed. The lawyer's right. It's a little complicated to explain on the radio. So call 855-875-CASH to find out how it works.
What? You'll cut my payment with no fees of any kind, and my balance will still go down?
Yep. Paying an interest rate below 3% really makes a big difference. To find out how big, just call 855-875-CASH. That's 855-875-CASH to slice your monthly payment now.
Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. 1 City Boulevard, Orange, California, 92868. Equal housing lender. Call 855-657-9910 for licensing terms and restrictions. NMLS 128231. Offer for first mortgage.
That's 855-875-CASH.
Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services. Have you received a letter or personal visit from the IRS? Has the IRS garnished your paycheck or seized your bank account? If so, you need to take action now. You're a target of the most powerful collection agency in the world, and you need representation you can trust. Don't get scammed by imitators and telemarketers' high-pressure tactics. At Wall & Associates, they've developed trust with their clients through a free face-to-face consultation. They've saved their clients over $129 million in the past 5 years. Call 1-800-983-5313 now for your free face-to-face consultation. Ignoring your tax problem will only make it worse. Call 1-800-983-5313 to get immediate help. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has helped thousands.
Ha! So is Donald Trump actually the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party? And if he is, what does that mean? On the next edition of the Wells Report, we're going to delve into all of that and what it means with you and me and the future of the United States. Is Donald Trump really a better presidential candidate than Hillary Clinton? We talk about it next time on the Wells Report. Mark Davis, good Wednesday morning, brother. Thank you very much for letting me come by and say hi. Coming up later on the Wells Report, we're going to discuss the presumptive fact that Donald Trump may indeed be the nominee for the Republican Party in 2016. What does this mean? Is it going to mean that we're going to see another Mitt Romney meltdown of the Republican Party and a Hillary Clinton presidency? Or does it mean that for once, the Republican Party will actually get together and elect someone that really represents something totally new? Who's a better president, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? Next time on the Wells Report.
Solid hickory is just $2.99 and get beautiful Bellawood $1 off a square foot, plus more deals from 69 cents and special financing. For the best deals on over 400 floors, visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you today.
Have you ever considered joining the military but stopped because you couldn't deploy to a foreign country? Believe it or not, the state of Texas has its own military force that stands alongside the Texas National Guard, the Texas Air National Guard, and serves only inside the state of Texas. It's called the Texas State Guard. I'm Tech Sergeant John Wells of the 4th Air Wing, and we're looking for you to join us. Give us a call at 877-398-8350. That's 877-398-8350. If you love Texas as much as we do, join the 4th Air Wing of the Texas State Guard.
And the Grammy goes to... And the American Music Award goes to...
Mr. Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Hi, we're Third Day. We're forming sort of one new band called SCC 3D.
Our sister station's doing it again. The 94.9 KLTY Concert Series welcomes Stephen Curtis Chapman with Third Day at the Verizon Theater on April 30th. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com. AXS.com.
If you've got questions, we've got answers. 660 AM. The Answer. Is anybody out there paying attention to what's going on in this country, in this state, and in this city? We know one man who is. You got questions? He's got answers. This is the Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM. The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 866-660-5759. 866-660-5759. So, who do you think is going to be Donald Trump's vice presidential candidate? 866-660-5759. 866-660-5759. Who do you think is going to be Hillary Clinton's vice presidential candidate? Chris Saliza writes for the Washington Post. Here's an overlooked consequence to the protracted presidential nomination fights in both parties, a historically short period of time for the eventual nominee to effectively vet his or her vice presidential options before making the eventual pick. According to a new Bipartisan Policy Center report outlining best practices for vetting, selection, and rollout of a vice presidential pick, combine the lack of a clear primary winner by the spring with a decision by both parties to move up their national conventions to the month of July, and you get a very, very, very short window for the nominee to pick the person who will literally be a heartbeat away from the presidency. Who will that be? 866-660-5759. I'll tell you something that I found out tonight that I think is absolutely killer good. Ted Cruz is currently vetting Carly Fiorina to be his vice president. Could not be a better choice. Could not be a better choice. Cruz Fiorina. That's a winning ticket. That's assuming, of course, that Donald Trump doesn't end up being the nominee, which I'm sorry, but it looks to me like he probably will end up being just that. Politico reports it. Ted Cruz has begun vetting Carly Fiorina as a potential pick for vice president, according to a source familiar with the discussions. Fiorina endorsed Cruz after she dropped out of the Republican nomination fight in February and has since become one of his most loyal and outspoken surrogates. The news was first reported by the Weekly Standard. Cruz and John Kasich have both said they've begun their vice presidential search, though both trailed Donald Trump in the delegate chase. Cruz aides did not respond for a request for comment, but on Twitter, Cruz campaign manager Jeff Rose said the search has begun to narrow. We've narrowed our VP candidates to a short list. We're going through the normal processes associated with picking a running mate. There could not be, for Ted Cruz, a better running mate than Carly Fiorina. Donald Trump is going to have a problem picking a vice presidential candidate insofar as he cannot, in my view, he has to be very, very careful because he knows that he needs a politician on the ticket. He knows he needs somebody that can handle the political aspects of the job. But Donald Trump needs to find somebody that he can trust because guess what? We have seen in this primary race that Donald Trump can be outpoliticked. That means that his vice presidential choice could very well seriously damage the president of the United States by virtue of the fact that he knows more about politics than the president does. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? You get what I'm saying, Magic? So who's he going to pick? What would have been a near perfect pick for Donald Trump would be Ted Cruz. But that ship has sailed. John Kasich is not going to be Donald Trump's. No, John Kasich is not going to be Donald Trump's.
John David?
No. Yes.
It will be John Kasich.
It will not be John Kasich.
Who would you want more, John Kasich or Chris Christie?
If I had to pick between those two, I would think that it would probably be Chris Christie, actually. But I think Chris Christie is going to be the Attorney General.
What about Ben Carson?
I think Ben Carson is a great guy, and if I was Donald Trump, I'd put him in the cabinet as the Surgeon General, and make him. You remember C. Everett Koop? The last real Surgeon General of the United States was C. Everett Koop. He was the Navy officer with the beard. He was the little short guy with the big brush cut, the white brush cut with the white beard. He was a brilliant Surgeon General. And if I was Donald Trump, I would put Ben Carson in charge of the Surgeon General's office, and I'd tell him to stop playing politics. I'd tell him to stop the Centers for Disease Control. I'd stop that from being a political organization and turn it into a medical one. Okay? And what I would do if I would put Ben Carson in there immediately for that. Go ahead.
You know, you were talking about, who Hillary Clinton could pick.
Yes.
I saw a report today. I don't know. I think it was Fox News. They were saying she has narrowed down some picks. One of them is Elizabeth Warren.
I know. Elizabeth Warren.
Pocahontas.
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. No. That's not going to happen unless if if Hillary Clinton picks Elizabeth Warren, it's going to be because the Democrat Party is very sure that they want to lose this election. Okay? So that's thing number one, because the United States, the people of the United States may indeed elect a female president of the United States. Okay? It's not going to be Hillary Clinton. And it's not going to be Elizabeth Warren. And it's not going to be a ticket where there are two women on the ticket. Okay? That's just not going to be the case. So Elizabeth Warren, no.
You know, on the other hand, a lot of people have been talking about Nikki Haley.
Yes. Now Donald Trump could probably put Nikki Haley on the ticket. That's a good choice. Okay? And Nikki Haley, but there's also
What about Marco Rubio?
Well, Marco Rubio's another one. I was going to get to Marco Rubio, and I'll tell you why. I have always said that if the Republican Party is serious about winning this election, they need to put an Hispanic on the ticket. Okay? And Ted Cruz is not going to be that guy, but Marco Rubio could be that guy. Here's the problem with Marco Rubio being the vice presidential pick for Donald Trump. Marco Rubio's a moderate. Donald Trump is a deal maker. I want somebody with Donald Trump who's a Tea Party conservative, but also a rock solid politician. Okay?
Why wouldn't Ted Cruz accept a VP nod if Donald Trump asked him for it?
I would think that would probably be the smartest move for Ted Cruz. I think that there are mistakes that Donald Trump made. One of them is alienating Ted Cruz. That was a hugely dumb move. Dumb. Because Ted Cruz was the guy that he needed to grab. You see, the real vice presidential pick for Donald Trump has always been Ted Cruz. They really had something good going at the beginning of this campaign.
But have they burned that bridge?
Lion Ted Cruz? Yeah, they've burned that bridge. And that was stupid. That was a mistake that Donald Trump made that may end up hurting him. You see, the reason that Donald Trump is quite possibly going to be the nominee of the Republican Party is because of the amazing differences he's brought to this race. But what's going to cost him winning the presidency will be the amazing differences he's brought to this race. You just don't get to crap on that many people in the Republican Party and then come up with the idea of, well, geez, now I need a Republican vice president. Who are you going to get? There's a guy out there that I think would make a superb job, be a superb vice president if he'd do the job. And that's Rick Perry. Rick Perry.
I was going to ask you about Rick Perry.
Rick Perry would be fine. But I think that when it comes right down to it, I think what we're probably going to end up doing is we'll probably end up seeing the Republican Party pick Marco Rubio to go with Donald Trump. But even the little Marco thing, what are you going to do?
I was going to ask you about little Marco.
See, what are you going to do about that? That's going to be fence mending.
What about Scott Walker?
Scott Walker has already said that he would rather put needles in his eyes than be Donald Trump's vice president. Mike Lee.
Well, then you have Peter King who says, take a cyanide pill if.
There's
Ted
always
Cruz
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. There's Ted Cruz. I mean, well, there's Peter King. Yeah. Look, this is going to be a really tough thing here. This vice presidential stuff. It's one of the reasons why I brought it up. I'm very interested in seeing who the vice presidents are going to be. I mean, I don't know who the Democrats are going to pick because the Democrats really have a thin bench. Once again, in order to be a Democrat, you have to be a socialist. In order to be a socialist, you have to have a completely different way of getting to public office. Because
Clinton Sanders.
We in America, we just don't elect socialists. And the one person that Hillary Clinton could pick would be Martin O'Malley. And he would actually have a chance to help that party out. You're listening to the Wells Report. This is 660 AM The Answer.
This is a special report from SRN News, the North Eastern Primaries. I'm Wally Hines. It was a huge night for GOP frontrunner Donald Trump, sweeping all 5 primaries, and Trump calling himself the presumptive nominee.
I think the party is seeing me that way. I'm getting calls that, as I said, you wouldn't believe. I'm getting calls from people that I really can't even know how they can do it because they've said such horrible things about me, and now they want to join the team.
Another loss for John Kasich.
So now he's 1-46. Why is he here?
As for Ted Cruz,
this campaign moves back to more favorable terrain.
Cruz hoping to regain momentum in Indiana. Hillary Clinton closing in on the Democratic nomination with big wins in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Connecticut, and Delaware, and promising to build
an America where we lift each other up instead of tearing each other down.
I'm Wally Hines.
The Mike Gallagher Show.
We'll analyze the latest 5-state primary winners and losers. The experts from Hillsdale College will give us the latest delegate count, and they'll do the math on the chances of Donald Trump getting to 1,237. Also, millennials have now surpassed the baby boomers as the largest living generation in America. What impact will this generational change have on the fabric of the United States?
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 10, right before Dennis Prager at noon on 660 AM. The Answer.
This is Albert Mohler for townhall.com. The U.S. Commission on Civil Rights recently published a statement condemning recent state laws and pending proposals targeting lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. It was motivated by new Mississippi laws protecting religious freedom and by North Carolina's much-discussed bathroom law. The statement includes these words, quote, civil rights protections ensuring non-discrimination, as embodied in the Constitution, laws, and policies, are of preeminent importance in American jurisprudence. End quote. Well, so good so far. But where does this go? Point 2, quote, religious exemptions to the protections of civil rights based upon classifications such as race, color, national origin, sex, disability status, sexual orientation, and gender identity, when they are permissible, significantly infringe upon those civil rights. End quote. For the first time, a statement that comes on the letterhead of the United States federal government explicitly states that religious liberty is the problem. I'm Albert Mohler.
Have you been holding out for a good deal to replace that old AC system? Well, now there's a new program you just can't pass up. I'm Jeff Stewart with Reliant Air Conditioning. You may have already heard that you can save over $3,500 on a new Infinity system with Carrier's Cool Cash, but did you know that for a limited time, you can also get an additional $1,800 off from your utility provider? That's right. And when you combine these two programs, we're talking saving over $5,000 on a brand new AC system that can cut your electric bill in half. But the utility funds are limited, and the program will end when the money runs out. Right now, we're scheduling free estimates on a first-come, first-served basis. So call now. Better yet, call 2 other companies first, and then call Reliant Air Conditioning, and you'll see how we've been gimmick-free since '83. Call 877-YOUR-HERO. That's 877-968-7437, or visit us online at ReliantAirConditioning.com.
Reliant Air Conditioning. Call 877-YOUR-HERO.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Manzeri, owner of Statewide Remodeling. You know, since our inception in 1994, we've evolved into the largest bathroom remodeling company in Texas, with offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. You know, what we found is that most bathroom remodeling companies are still using old technology in the bathroom remodeling business. I'm not saying they necessarily do bad work. They just are not keeping up with all the new trends and product availability, as well as what's new that goes into the wet area of the bathroom to prevent leaks and low-maintenance products that reduce mold and mildew. If you're going to spend your money to remodel a bathroom, you owe it to yourself to at least get an estimate from Statewide Remodeling. We do not charge for a design consultation. We'll come to your home and show you all the options, help with your design, and give you a down-to-the-penny price that's good for 30 days. After that, it's up to you. You can also come by one of our DFW area showrooms or visit us online anytime at statewideremodeling.com. If you call now, we're offering 20% off your complete bath remodel. The number to call is 888-270-7095. That's 888-270-7095.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-859-5125, I'll send the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-859-5125, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-859-5125. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. That's 800-859-5125. Call 800-859-5125 now.
You've had enough of your back pain. You're tired of it. Find your nearest Walgreens or CVS and look for the Australian Dream, makers of the trusted arthritis pain relief cream, now with a formula to ease back pain. Australian Dream back pain cream is real medicine, and it can effectively relieve your simple backache. It absorbs easily, and it isn't greasy. Australian Dream is backed by the empty jar guarantee. No more pain for you. Pull into your Walgreens or CVS now. Get Australian Dream back pain cream in the purple and white box in the pain relief aisle.
660 AM, The Answer. 660 AM, TheAnswer.com. Only for Texas. This is the Wells Report on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Yeah, I look at all this and I wonder just exactly who is going to be the running mate for all of these people. And I'm thinking that indeed, it's going to be somebody that has a lot to do with the ticket. You're going to have to find someone that will humanize the Hillary Clinton ticket on the Democrat side, unless she, and I'm still amazed that she isn't in jail. I really can't believe that she's not still in jail. There is something here that you need to be aware of. It's on the Weekly Standard. Bill Clinton. Keeping with former President Bill Clinton's aspiration to be the least helpful surrogate for a presidential candidate, he criticized President Obama's jobs record. These, by the way, are words that have to be said by someone. The only person that can actually make any of these statements are clearly people who are been there, done that Democrats, and there's only really one in the party that's left, and that's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is a former president of the United States. He's going to be able to say whatever he wants to say regarding Democrat politics anywhere in the United States. Here's what he's had to say about President Obama's jobs record. The country is doing better than anyone else in the world, but 80% of the country has not had a pay raise since the crash. Therefore, there is great fear that we can't return to prosperity. And there have been a lot of fires that has, let's see, and that has been a lot of the fires that has helped Mr. Trump on the right and Senator Sanders on the left. It's totally predictable. Democrats are upset with Democrat leadership in the party. Republicans are upset with Republican leadership in the party. It is completely and totally predictable. And the reason that it's totally predictable is because the American political process has completely destroyed itself because of stupidness, because of being unwilling to do the people's business. They have lost their credibility on both sides of the aisle. They've made a complete mess of it. And I don't know how they're going to clean it up either. At some point, there will be a couple of come to Jesus meetings with these political parties and the American people. And I don't know who they're going to get on the Democrat side, and I frankly really don't care. But the guy on the Republican side had better know how to tell the truth. And had better be able to tell truth to power, which is the Republican Party has just flat blown it. And it's time for us to get back to being a party of the people instead of each other. This is the Wells Report.
This is Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, and I'd like to invite you to join me for our talk show every Sunday morning. We're actually trying to convert the world to organics. We talk about the natural organic program for farming, ranching, gardening, and pest control. Also, a lot of talk about health issues for animals and people. Hope you can join us for all the fun.
Make sure to tune in to Howard Garrett, the Dirt Doctor, every Sunday morning from 8 to 11 a.m. right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.
Hey, it's Mark Davis for my friends at Abacus Foundation Repair. You and I both know that the warmer, wetter seasons in Texas can give us real foundation problems. Wet spells, dry spells. Let me put you in touch with Abacus Foundation Repair if you even think you've got any kind of foundation problem. This is what I did. I called them. You'll be glad you did too. At 972-406-9000. Call the right people first. Abacus Foundation Repair, 972-406-9000. Why are they the right people to call if you got cracks in the walls or sheetrock or doors that are sticking or any kind of suspicion? Because they're going to map your house with the skill of an engineer. Look for possible causes like a plumbing issue so the problem doesn't come back. When they're done, you get a lifetime warranty. You can transfer free and clear to any new owner. It adds to your home's value. North Texas homeowners trust Abacus Foundation Repair, so give them a call, 972-406-9000, Abacus, A-B-A-C-U-S, abacusfoundationrepair.com. You'll be glad you called, so call 972-406-9000 or abacusfoundationrepair.com.
Are you a responsible person who finds yourself growing deeper and deeper in credit card debt and you're not sure how to fix the problem? Then get ready for a toll-free number that will put you on a path to financial recovery. Trinity Debt Management is a nonprofit organization that will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, put a stop to late fees and over-limit charges, and reduce your interest rates by as much as 60%. You'll save thousands and become debt-free for keeps. It's not a loan. It's a smart way to relieve your stress, meet your obligations, and preserve your self-respect. If your debt has you down, we should talk. Gather up your bills and call this toll-free number for a free, no-obligation debt analysis. 1-800-936-5348. That's 1-800-936-5348. If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-936-5348.
Hey everybody, Mark Davis for my friends at Sherry's Berries. Here comes Mother's Day. I'm so glad to send all my friends in the audience to my friends at Sherry's Berries. It all starts with the berries. In fact, the website is berries.com. Go there. Make sure you enter the code name Davis when you click the microphone, because that's where all these specials are going to play out for you. Berries dipped in magnificent chocolate, milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolatey goodness. Pair it up with some flowers, various other great things they have at that berries.com website. It's all for mom and it's all good and it's all at great savings if you do the following. Go to berries.com, click the radio microphone in the upper right, and then enter my last name, Davis, D-A-V-I-S, for all the savings. Fantastic berries dipped in awesome chocolate, fantastic other things you can only see if you go to berries.com, B-E-R-R-I-E-S, berries.com, and then click the mic in the upper right, enter my last name, Davis, as the code word. Berries.com, B-E-R-R-I-E-S, berries.com, click the mic and enter D-A-V-I-S.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-500-4715. That's 1-800-500-4715. 1-800-500-4715.
In Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 2, God says, "Write in a book all the words I've spoken to you." Is there a story in you today? Have you ever felt urged by God to write those words in a book? Zulon Press is the largest, most experienced Christian self-publisher in the world, and they're offering a free publishing guide at christianpublishingguide.com. They've helped thousands of people just like you tell their stories and touched thousands of lives.
Share your story and find out more today at 660amtheanswer.com. Visit 660amtheanswer.com now.
You can listen on the go. Find us on iHeartRadio. 660 AM, The Answer. The Wells Report, a daily good old-fashioned North Texas barbecue of anybody trying to take advantage of us on 660 AM, The Answer.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Brahim Abdeslam was 31 years old. On the night of November 13th, Abdeslam, the brother of the Belgian terrorist fugitive who was recently arrested there, walked into the Comptoir Voltaire. It's a restaurant in Paris. We know he walked into the restaurant because they have him on surveillance video. He walked in, he was pale. It appears as though he was shaking. Big circles under his eyes. Walks into the middle of the cafe. Puts his hands up to his eyes as if to cover his face. And then detonates a suicide belt inside his jacket. And blows himself to pieces. 15 people were injured in the blast. Abdeslam was the only person killed. The video, while potentially incredibly graphically ugly, is not as bad as you might think. Mainly because a lot of it's been edited. M6 was the French station that aired the video, part of a program called Zone Interdit, Forbidden Zone. In the video, all of the horrifying events are shown slowly, one frame at a time, but not sequential frames. There's plenty there. Abdeslam is seen with the explosion occurring at his back. His back is bent backwards. In other words, his shoulders go backwards. His face goes towards the ceiling, and then his body is torn asunder. Half going one direction, half going the other. As I said, he was the only person killed. But there's something badly wrong here. At least I think it's badly wrong. I'm not sure. The television station has been savagely criticized for running the tape. A spokesman for France's television watchdog group told the Associated Press he couldn't give the total number of complaints, but said it wasn't unusually high. And yet, the French press is being savage in their criticism for television station M6. The attacks in Paris targeted several cafes, the Bataclan concert venue, and a soccer match at France's National Stadium in all. 130 people were killed, more than 350 were injured. Brahim Abdeslam was the older brother of Salah Abdeslam, who failed to detonate his own suicide vest that night. Instead, he escaped across the border to Belgium, where he was hunted down as Europe's most wanted man. Salah Abdeslam was finally captured last month, days before members of the same ISIS cell that carried the Paris attacks killed 32 more people in coordinated bombings of the Brussels airport and a metro station. At the time of Salah Abdeslam's arrest, it was reported that authorities were led to him by surveilling acquaintances who had attended Brahim Abdeslam's funeral at the Scherbeek district in Brussels. I'm not sure whether or not it was a good idea to air the tape on national television, or whether it would have been a better idea not to. Part of me says that if the actual horrifying terror that these people seek to wreak on all of us were easier to see, it could quite possibly be more, we could be closer to the end of the terror war instead of being mired in the middle of it. I'm watching this video on my desk getting ready for the Wells Report tonight. And the psychopathic craziness involved in an attack of this nature reduces the participants to a subhuman level. There's nothing to be said that's anything close to redeeming about an act like that. In fact, it shows the incredible intellectual, spiritual, religious bankruptcy of any kind of religion based on any book anywhere on the earth that says your way to paradise is on a road moistened with the blood of innocents. That's not a religion, that's a death cult.
And that's all it is. Brahim Abdeslam knew that he was doing something wrong. He would not have been so frightened. He would have not been so obviously ill as he touched off that vest, if it wasn't for the fact that he knew at that moment that what he was doing was badly, badly wrong. Do we see these videos too much or too little? In my view, we see them too little. I know there are a lot of people that believe that it would be a bad thing to keep showing the American people the collapsing World Trade Center towers. But I am not one of those people. I don't fear seeing those towers fall again. I don't fear the cold rage I feel every time I do. But what we need to do is we need to realize that these people are not playing around. And that those who need to be victimized the most are themselves, the terrorists. I've never been the same since the death video of Daniel Pearl. I've never been the same since the beheading video of the various journalists that were captured. I was horrified as I watched the Jordanian fighter pilot burn. Driven to cold rage by watching the cage of men being lowered into the water and kept there until they drowned, and then hauled back above the surface so the world could see the handiwork of the savages. That had put them to death. I've never been the same. The same. The killings and the murders and the rapes and the amputations and the throwing men off of buildings and all of those things shouldn't be hidden from the people of the world. They should be shared. Because with every vile death, with every act of savagery, with every small child tortured by an electric drill, and then mercifully killed with the bit chewing into the brainstem of this young kid. The people who are responsible for those acts of savagery damage beyond repair the reputations and the religions and the belief systems of those who stand by and watch it happen. And that we don't allow ourselves or force ourselves to see the depths of the savage evil out there serves the purpose of those savages as brilliantly as anything that could possibly be thought up in their sick and twisted minds. It's time to stop these degenerate savages and their evil work. This is the Wells Report.
Hey, does the idea of having your home sold on time without hassle and for top dollar, does that seem unrealistic to you? Well, it doesn't have to. Hey, Dallas, it's your friend Sean Hannity with your solution and the one real estate agent to sell your home guaranteed. That's Josh DeShong of Josh DeShong Real Estate at Keller Williams. On average, Josh sells a home every 32 hours and averages hundreds of local, national, and international buyers every single week. Now, that means your home sells on time at a price that you agreed to, guaranteed, or Josh will buy it. He spends 200 times more money on marketing than the average agent. Real estate mogul and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran only recommends Josh in DFW. And if I lived in Dallas and needed my home sold, guess what? I'd call Josh DeShong, and you should too. Call Josh now at 972-325-6644 or go online at getsold.net. That's 972-325-6644 or getsold.net.
Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services. Have you received a letter or personal visit from the IRS? Has the IRS garnished your paycheck or seized your bank account? If so, you need to take action now. You're a target of the most powerful collection agency in the world, and you need representation you can trust. Don't get scammed by imitators and telemarketers' high-pressure tactics. At Wall & Associates, they've developed trust with their clients through a free face-to-face consultation. They've saved their clients over $129 million in the past 5 years. Call 1-800-983-5313 now for your free face-to-face consultation. Ignoring your tax problem will only make it worse. Call 1-800-983-5313 to get immediate help. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has helped thousands of taxpayers, and they can help you. Call now, 1-800-983-5313. That's 1-800-983-5313.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And the Grammy goes to. And the American Music Award goes to. And the Grammy goes to. And the Grammy goes to.
Mr. Stephen Curtis Chapman. With a career spanning over 3 decades, Stephen Curtis Chapman has pretty much done it all, except for one thing.
Hi, we're Third Day.
Be a member of Third Day? One night where 2 of our industry's top performers literally merge into each other's bands to play each other's songs that you've loved for years. Our sister station's doing it again. The 94.9 KLTY Concert Series welcomes Stephen Curtis Chapman with Third Day at the Verizon Theater on April 30th.
We're forming sort of one new band called SCC 3D, I think is what we're calling it.
You'll probably never see anything like this again. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com. That's AXS.com. One night you'll never forget. Get your tickets right now at AXS.com.
As a listener to this station, you've heard a variety of companies advertising their products and services, many of them for a number of years.
I'm Walt Parker with InvestingMakesMeSick.com. I've gotten absolutely great results. No matter who's advertising, it definitely pays off. Doesn't matter what business they're in. I think they'll find it's going to be very rewarding.
My name is John Duncan, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bioscan of Las Colinas
It's simply the most effective advertising that I can do. I've advertised for the last 14 years on television, radio, and newspaper, and advertising with 660 gets the best results.
Hi, I'm Marcia West, Senior Account Manager for 660 AM The Answer. For 20 years, I've worked with companies, both big and small, to create cost-effective radio campaigns that get results. Let me do the same for you. Contact me today at mwest@ksky.com. That's mwest@ksky.com. I want to help you grow your business.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Manzeri, owner of Statewide Remodeling, with a little different message than you usually hear from me. Yes, we are Texas' largest residential remodeler. We have offices in Dallas, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. We've been in business since 1994, and I'm looking for outside salespeople to fill spots in my Dallas office. So if you're looking for a great opportunity to work for a company doing in-home sales, here's what we can offer you. Full benefits, that's health insurance and a 401k, great comp and bonus plan, no overnight travel, and all preset appointments. Here's who I'm looking for. People that are motivated. My old saying is, if you want people to get excited about buying, you better be excited about selling. We have the product, services, warranty, and reputation to justify that excitement. Sales experience is helpful, but not required if you're the right person with the right attitude. This could be a life-changing opportunity for you. For more information and a one-on-one interview, call 214-699-3736. That's 214-699-3736.
Dallas, Fort Worth's home for stimulating talk. 660 AM, The Answer. Only for Texas. This is the Wells Report with John David Wells on 660 AM, The Answer.
Scientists have shown for the first time the exact moment a sperm meets an egg and life begins. This is truly amazing. If you go to thetelegraph.co.uk, you can see this article that says a bright flash of light marks an incredible moment when life begins when sperm meets egg. There are various videos and pictures that show this flash of light. Those unions of egg and sperm that produce the healthiest babies are also those that produce the brightest lights. It was remarkable, said Professor Teresa Woodruff, one of the study's two senior authors. We discovered the zinc spark 5 years ago in a mouse, and to see zinc radiate out in a burst from each human egg was breathtaking. The executive producer of the Wells Report is Vicki Steifer. Technical director, conductor of the Wells Report Orchestra is Magic Matt Swinney. My name is John David Wells. God bless you all. Thank you for joining us on tonight's edition of the Wells Report.
Sean Hannity can read between the lines.
There is a strategy that has emerged among all of these prominent Republicans that they want to bring in a white knight candidate, an outsider. They want another person. And you want to know why? Because if you're a Cruz supporter, they think you're stupid. If you're a Trump supporter, they think you're stupid.
The Sean Hannity Show, afternoons at 2, right before Michael Medved at 5 on 660 AM. The Answer.
Attention, all timeshare owners. Were you a victim of a high-pressure or dishonest timeshare sales agent? Were you confused with what you were buying or didn't provide what you were promised? Do you feel that you overpaid for your timeshare, can't afford it? Or do you simply not use it anymore and just want out? If you answered yes to any of these questions, we can help.